And that's because I'm muted. Okay, I'm just testing a new mic, and I want to see if I get any feedback audio to know that it's working. So give me one moment while I do this. And that's because I'm muted. Okay, I'm just testing a new mic, and I want to see if I get any feedback audio to know that it's working. So give me one moment. Well, while I do this, because I'm muted. Okay, I'm just testing a new mic, and I want to see if I get any feedback audio to know that it's well, working. It's obviously working. Well, but I don't know if I like it that much. It seems to be coming only through one speaker. Well, it's obviously working. Well, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, it is working. I like it. I'll run it. I'll run with it. I will run with it. So let's see. All right, welcome everybody. As I said before, my name is Sidney Winston. I am an atheist activist out of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And I am on, I believe, the second episode of All Gods Are Imaginary, Prove Me Wrong. I think I'm going to do this on a daily basis. I'm going to give it, say, 60 minutes, 2 hours, whatever, and see if somebody can come in and prove me wrong on my claim, my statement, my assertion that all gods are imaginary. While we wait for for people to come into the room, as you can see, it is open, and we can what's going on there? Settings. Just bear with me, please. Microphone is blocked. Alright, so that's all working. Alright. Well, okay, good. So what I'll do is while we're waiting for anyone to join in the conversation room, no matter from which side you're from, join me. And if by the end of an hour or two you can convince me that you can prove me wrong in that all gods are imaginary, then I don't have to do this every single day ever again. So come on in. In the meantime, let's see if we can catch up with somebody who obviously knows what they're talking about because they've studied it. Let's go to our friend Richard Carrier, young Richard Carrier. Look at this, looks like a kid.
All right, I'm going to cut to the chase. Dr. Craig has only two sources of historical evidence in reality: the epistles and the Gospels. Point blank, my argument is the Gospels have no relevant value as historical sources, and the epistles don't tell us anything we can prove was unnatural. First up, the Gospels record myth, not history. I wanted to debate that subject with Dr. Craig today, but he didn't want to, so now I can only give you some examples proving my point, so I can leave room to discuss the many other topics in this debate. But I can assure you, if I had more time, these examples could be multiplied a dozen times over. One of the clearest examples of myth-making in the Gospels is the Barabbas narrative. According to Mark, the Romans occupying Judea had a custom of releasing a prisoner every year on the Jewish holiday, whoever the Jews voted for. So Pilate asks the Jews if they want him to release Jesus Christ. And instead, the chief priests convince everyone to ask for Barabbas instead, a convicted murderer who had rebelled against Rome. Now, there is no evidence the Romans ever had such a custom of releasing just any prisoner the Jews wanted. Nor is it at all plausible the Romans certainly would not let loose a murderer and a traitor, least of all because the very people who rebelled asked them to. But Mark's story clearly copies an actual ritual the Jews performed at their temple every year at Yom Kippur. 2 goats would be selected. One would be chosen to be the scapegoat, and all the sins of Israel would be placed upon it, and it would be released into the wild, to be claimed by the devil. While the other goat would be sacrificed, and its blood would atone for the sins of all Israel. Now, as it happens, Barabbas is a fake name. In Aramaic, it means son of the Father. So here we have two sons of the Father, Barabbas and Jesus. One who carries the sins of Israel, murder and rebellion, and is released to the mob, and the other whose blood atones for the sins of all Israel. So here we have a historically unbelievable story involving a man with a fake name that nevertheless carries deep symbolic meaning. By definition, that's a myth. This story has been constructed by the author for its symbolism. It's not a historical report of anything that actually happened. Now, there are many more examples like this surveyed in the works of biblical scholars like Randall Helms and Thomas Brodie and Burton Mack and Jonathan Reed and Helmut Koester and many more. As scholars have long known, all the Gospels are filled to the brim with stories deliberately constructed for their symbolic and literary meaning rather than their historical verity. For example, one indicator of myth is the inclusion of implausibly convenient story structure, what literary scholars call deliberate irony. Mark, for example, has Jesus constantly talking about the reversal of expectation as the message of the gospel, teaching with many parables that the least shall be first, the high will be brought low, the meek shall inherit the earth, the poor shall be rich, and so on. So it's a rather implausible coincidence when the actual narrative of Mark's story is filled with remarkably convenient reversals of expectation. James and John, who asked to sit at the right and left of Jesus in his glory, are replaced by two thieves on his right and left at his crucifixion. Simon Peter, Christ's right-hand man, who was told he had to deny himself and take up his cross and follow, denies Christ instead and is replaced by a different Simon, Simon of Cyrene, a stranger who actually takes up his cross and follows. Likewise, contrary to expectation, Christ's own people, the Jews, mock their own Savior, while it is a Gentile officer of Rome who recognizes his divinity. And the male disciples abandon Jesus, while the women truly follow him and are thus the first to learn of his resurrection, proving again that the least shall be first, and on and on. Countless elements of Mark's story involve deliberately fabricated irony like this. Another indicator of myth is the construction of stories, even down to the specific details, using material from the Old Testament. It's well known, for example, that Mark constructs his crucifixion narrative using material from Psalm 22. The casting of lots for his clothes, Jesus' cry on the cross, the taunts of the crowd, all come from that psalm, often verbatim. But as I show in the empty tomb, Mark also constructed his empty tomb narrative using material from Genesis, Ecclesiastes, Chronicles, and Psalm 24 in a similar way. Another indicator of myth is the inclusion of deliberate parallels and inversions of other myths. For example, Luke tells the story of a man named Cleopas who journeys on the road from Jerusalem to Emmaus after the corpse of Jesus has vanished, when the resurrected Jesus appears to him and explains the secrets of the kingdom. Then he vanishes, and Cleopas goes on to proclaim what he was told. As it happens, the name Cleopas conveniently means tell all. In other words, proclaim. Moreover, this tale exactly emulates and in deliberate ways inverts a story already celebrated every year in Rome, and in that other story, a man named Proculus, whose name also means proclaim, journeys on the road from Alba Longa to Rome after the corpse of Romulus has vanished. And just like Jesus, the resurrected Romulus appears and explains the secrets of empire. Then he vanishes, and Proculus goes on to proclaim what he was told. In both stories, the men are journeying from east to west toward the sea along the path of the sun, from the city on a mountain to a city in a valley, and in both stories the distance of the road is exactly the same, 14 miles. These similarities are too numerous to be a coincidence. Again, this is deliberate symbolic fiction. And like many myths, the way the story is changed is the whole point. The similarities tell us what story to compare it to, while the differences tell us what the author wants us to learn from that comparison. Romulus told Proculus that if the Romans are virtuous, they will conquer the world. But Jesus told Cleopas that the virtuous will join a spiritual kingdom instead of a physical one. Romulus appeared in immense glory, as befit his message of glory, but Jesus appeared in humble disguise, as befit his message of humility. And while Proculus receives his gospel on the road to Rome, Cleopas receives his gospel on the road from Jerusalem. So while the old story implies all roads lead to Rome, the new story implies all roads lead from Jerusalem. In almost every detail, the stories are identical or exactly the reverse. Another indicator of myth is the reification of imaginary people into real people. In the Gospel of John, for example, a new character is invented, Lazarus, whom Jesus raises from the dead, an amazing event none of the other Gospels apparently had ever heard of. Suddenly he appears in John. In John chapter 11, this Lazarus is identified as the one whom Jesus loved, who is later cited as a witness for the details of the crucifixion and resurrection, again appearing in those narratives exactly where none of the other Gospels ever imagined him before. And yet we know this Lazarus didn't exist, for he first appears in Luke's Gospel as a fictional person in a parable, where Jesus tells a story about a rich man burning in hell who sees a dead beggar named Lazarus in heaven. So he begs God to raise this Lazarus from the dead so he can warn his living brothers to avoid his own hellish fate. The parable ends with God refusing, telling him, if they will not listen to Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded if someone rises from the dead. Notice what happens in John. He reverses the message of Luke's parable by having Jesus actually raise Lazarus from the dead, which convinces many people to turn and be saved. The very thing Luke's Jesus said wouldn't work. In fact, just as the rejected request in Luke's parable imagined Lazarus going to people and convincing them, John's Lazarus is then cited as a witness to the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus, specifically to convince people. Again, what Luke's Jesus said wouldn't work. John has thus reified a fictional character and integrated him into the story where he never was before, in order to argue against the particular message in Luke, seeking instead to persuade people with the very outcome Luke said wouldn't persuade them. Another indicator of myth is the acceptance of wildly contradictory versions of the same myth. For example, Matthew's Gospel wildly contradicts Mark's empty tomb narrative in almost every detail, elaborating it with incredible claims of posted guards and flying superhuman angels magically paralyzing people and hurling about tombstones. Again, in the empty tomb, I demonstrate where all these crazy changes came from. Matthew completely rewrote the empty tomb story in Mark in order to portray Jesus as a new Daniel in the lion's den, borrowing exact words, phrases, and details from the book of Daniel in order to construct this new story. Okay, I've only given you a few examples, but all the Gospels are full of mythical narratives like this, cover to cover, where stories are constructed symbolically, mining the Jewish scriptures and pagan myths for symbolic details. Histories are not written this way. These are myths, the telling of implausible tales that never happened, but are constructed with symbolic meaning. The Gospels routinely invent even very public events that never happened. Mark invents a darkness covering the whole world for 3 hours that no one else saw. Matthew invents a rock-splitting earthquake no one else noticed, as well as a horde of resurrected corpses parading into Jerusalem, leaving hundreds of empty tombs behind, which again no other author had ever seen or heard of, and on and on. As with these events, and Barabbas and the guards at the tomb, and so on, the Gospel authors routinely made up entire people and events, simply to communicate their message through symbols, metaphors, and parables. That means we can't trust anything they say is historical, since we know for a fact from these very examples and many others that they were writing symbolic fiction. We have no reason, therefore, to believe their empty tomb narratives or their appearance narratives were anything more than symbolic fiction as well. Even if some history is lost in there somewhere, having no other sources, we have no way of knowing which details are historical and which made up. And therefore, no evidence in the Gospels can be used to argue for the resurrection of Jesus.
Okay, let me see.
Yep, so there you go. That was Richard Carrier, and he's presenting a very strong argument that all gods are imaginary, and I can't imagine that there's an argument that anyone can bring to me to prove me wrong. It didn't happen yesterday, and I doubt that it'll happen today, and if it doesn't happen today, then I guess we have a show tomorrow, because every day at this time I'm going to come on with this All Gods Are Imaginary, Prove Me Wrong title, and I'm going to open the room just like it's open right now. The link is at the top of the chat or in the description. If you can prove that all gods are imaginary, you come on in and you prove me wrong. Who is this? Oh, no. You've had your chance. You came on here. You had no idea of what you were talking about. You didn't prove me wrong. All you did was pat your own back and brag that you're so wonderful. Nah. Somebody else who's never tried and never failed. E.A. Dawa, you have tried and you have failed. All gods are imaginary, prove me wrong. None of you can do that. And that is why this challenge is a daily challenge. I invite the smartest, most learned, most decorated and awarded Christian or theologian in the whole world to come on and prove me wrong. I assert, I claim that all gods are imaginary. Come on, prove me wrong. You can't. None of you can. All right, who's in the chat? Okay, we got E.A. Dawa. We got a square circle too heavy to lift. Hey, man. Rebuke and reprove the freak. Cool. Who can come on and prove me wrong that all gods are imaginary? If you just want to come on here and insult me, well, you know, that's not proving that all gods are imaginary, so that's not going to fly either. All gods are imaginary? I'm claiming that all gods are imaginary. Prove me wrong. Now, when I say all gods are imaginary, that's because there are no gods. I can't point to you and say, shit, I'm wrong. Look, there's a god there. It's not imaginary. So, if you can, I honestly don't believe that there's anyone who can come up with a coherent, cogent argument that all gods are not imaginary. Look, there's a truck driver who thinks he's a philosopher wants to come into the room. Okay. No, actually, I said before that if you want to just come in and insult me, then that's not this. You know, that's another episode. But this one specifically is to prove me wrong on my claim that all gods are imaginary. So let's see what the truck driver can do for us.
Hey, Sidney.
Yes, Jay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. I just I don't trust truck drivers as philosophers.
Oh, you don't? Oh, that's
so you know, you said to me the other day that you don't trust biologists, or you don't trust biology. You didn't accept Richard Dawkins' philosophy because he's a biologist or something like that. Well, I don't accept your philosophy because you're a truck driver. So you know, there you go. Now, all gods are imaginary. All gods are imaginary. Prove me wrong.
Okay. Well, no, you made the positive claim. Give me your argument.
It's my statement. It's my assertion. Prove me wrong.
Yeah. Well, you can't. Well, I assert that God's real. Prove me wrong.
Yeah. Well, that's your show. This is my show. All gods are imaginary. Prove me wrong.
Okay. So this is why you only have one person watching you. I just want you to know that.
That's fine.
This is why you only have one person watching you right
listen,
now.
I said to you, if you want to come in and tackle the question at hand, fine. If you want to come in and pretend that you're something big and strong and better than me, and there's only one person watching, I don't give a fuck if there's one person watching.
I'm not big and strong.
You obviously have nothing else to contribute. If that's all you can if that's all you can come up with is that one person's watching,
no, that's not all. I got plenty more.
That doesn't prove that there's.
I got plenty more.
That doesn't prove me wrong. All gods.
When you're done listening to your narcissistic voice, I'll give you more.
Okay, but when I'm done, I'll let you carry on. But right now, I'm making the statement that all gods are imaginary. Prove me wrong. It's for you to talk to me to prove me wrong. And if you can, I'll admit that I'm wrong. I'll admit that I'm wrong. But don't forget one thing: all gods are imaginary, so you can't prove me wrong. So go ahead. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, what is an axiom?
Don't ask me a question. Prove me wrong. All gods are imaginary.
What is an axiom, Sidney?
Dude, are you deaf or
Uh-oh.
something? Are you deaf?
Uh-oh, he's in trouble.
All right.
What's an axiom, Sidney? Are you not going to answer the
No, I'm not.
question?
If you're not going to tackle the subject
Oh,
of,
you see how
proving me wrong
intelligent
that
people,
all gods
when
are.
intelligent people speak to each other, they clarify terms before they have the discussion. So I'm trying to clarify terms. If you don't want to do that, then I don't have to waste my
Fine,
time
then
with you.
goodbye. It's pretty
This
simple.
is how
All
sad
God,
your
it's
show
pretty,
is, Sidney.
it's pretty standard.
Every time I
It's
came
pretty
in here, I made a
obvious.
complete fool of you, and now you don't want to talk to me anymore.
It's very
It's
obvious.
it's it's
It's very
upsetting.
obvious that all you can do is talk, and not listen. But
Yeah,
the fact of the matter,
I'm listening. What's your argument?
I want you to just listen, and if you can listen, then
Okay, I'll listen
listen.
to your argument.
Okay, my claim here is all gods are imaginary because all gods have only come from the imagination of other people. That's the only way people have ever heard about gods is from other people. So that's my statement. All gods are imaginary because no one's ever seen them. They've only heard about them from other people who haven't seen them themselves. So prove me wrong.
So you have a reason for your claim, right?
It's up to you to prove me wrong.
Okay, no, I'm just trying to make sure that you have.
It's not up to me to answer questions. It's up to you to prove me wrong.
No. Can I just understand you first before I make the argument?
It's 4 words. All gods are imaginary.
Yes, and you have a reason for that claim, right?
No, I don't have a reason. I'm just saying it. Prove me wrong.
But you just gave me a reason, Sidney. Now you're contradicting yourself. You said all gods are imaginary.
Yes.
Because, and you gave a reason, right?
Yeah. Okay. What was the reason?
Oh boy.
Well, what was the reason I gave?
Because you said that all gods are imaginary, yes. Because people have said in the past and made up all these different stories.
That's correct, and that's all we have. So
okay, then you do have a reason for your claim, right?
Of course, I have a reason for my claim. If I didn't have a reason for my
claim,
I wouldn't have to say it.
What you need to do
I
is
don't
edit
need to
all
do
of
anything.
your...
I don't need to do anything.
Okay,
What you need to do,
I'll wait till you're done.
What you need to do
I'll wait till you're done.
Is either prove me wrong or leave and let somebody else come
in. And anyways, Sidney, so an axiom doesn't have reasons for why it's an axiom.
Are you going
you need to edit your videos and make sure that all gods are imaginary is no longer an axiom. Now you have reasons for it. Or do you not know what an axiom is?
You're starting to piss
Which would be my first question.
You're starting to annoy me. And that's never a good reason. Never a good...
No, that means that I'm 68.
That's never a good deal.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great
so
deal.
what I need for you to do is...
I can't wait to review
prove me wrong that all gods are imaginary. Please.
Yeah. Well you mean
go ahead.
Go ahead. That's not an axiom?
Go ahead. Prove
the
me
thing
wrong.
that used to be an axiom, but it's not.
All gods are imaginary.
I'm not even 2 minutes into talking you, and I've already got you to contradict yourself.
You to ask me questions.
You've already contradicted yourself, Sidney.
In your
mind, I didn't even have to try this time.
In your mind, you can make up anything you like because you've got
God. No, dude, you said you didn't have reasons, and then you said you did. You literally contradicted yourself.
Do you have
and it didn't even take me but 5 minutes. Come on, Sidney.
Are you really happy with yourself?
This is child's play.
This
is child's play.
It's child's play, is it?
It is. It is.
Well, then you're in the wrong. You're in the wrong hanger. This is child's play. Anyway, anybody else can come in, and if they can prove me wrong on my claim that all gods are imaginary, without going at me about silly stuff, what is an axiom? All I asked you to do was come in, prove me wrong. Don't ask me questions. Just prove me wrong. You don't have to ask questions. All gods are imaginary are simple. It's a simple statement. You can prove me wrong if you can. And you don't have to ask me questions. So this J dude who was on here before, he was just yanking my chain. Fuck him. Right, if nobody else is going to step up to the plate, I'm going to find something else for you. Oh, this one really... Excuse me. This one. All right. This one is an incredible. This one here is an incredible. This is an incredible lecture given by Richard Carrier, which basically proves everything again, which proves the fact that there are no gods 100% because he's a historian. So I'm going to get you to watch this and enjoy while you can because this is excellent stuff.
Okay, so let's start with the grand picture of history, right? Imagine religions as species of animals, and you put animals in a big family tree, essentially, right, of how they started at one original species and that radiated out into various others, into branches and leaves and whatnot. Now think of religions in a similar way. The earliest religions date at least to 40,000 BC. Now, actually, we have evidence that goes even further back than that. But by 40,000 BC, we have shamanistic cave paintings and other things like ritual burials and things like that indicate that there was some sort of religion going on. 40,000 years BC, think about that. Now, the first priesthoods, we're looking at 10,000 BC when we have cities, or cities and villages and things where we have actual priesthoods established. So we've got 30,000 years where humans are walking around with religions and having religious beliefs before they even get priesthoods. But then finally they get priesthoods. It's still 8,000 years before Yahweh comes along and says, oh, hey, by the way, I am the one true God. And you see, of course, he does this in one tiny little place. I mean, he doesn't mention the fact that he exists to anyone but one tiny tribe of goat herders in one little place. And for another 1,000 years, even after that, he neglects to ever mention this Jesus character, right? So when you look at history, this Yahweh religion, this Yahweh-based religion, even Christianity, just looks like one among many. It makes no sense from the perspective of a cosmic deity who would, of course, been revealing the gospel from, year 40,000 BC. And all cultures, all history would show that the same God was sending the same messages to people in every culture and everywhere from as far back as we have any kind of evidence of religion. Even our written records go back to about 2000 BC, and yet there's no evidence of this having occurred. So history, just in the big picture, already refutes all religions, right? If there was any God-based religion, God would consistently be talking to people with the same message, the same belief system. But that's not what we see. What we see looks pretty much like human invention. Humans are making stuff up according to their local culture and happenstance of history. Now we skip up to look at Judaism. So we're going to start with Judaism because that's the first of the Western religions that's still around and has influenced the other major two. Now, in between 539 and 332 BC, Persia conquered Judea. Now, I want to point out, of course, that those of you who know geography, you can try to find Judea on there, the Palestine, the Holy Land, quote unquote. It barely shows up. I mean, it's basically almost just a piece of a red line of the border there. And compare that, of course, to the Persian Empire. Looks like the Persians had better gods, apparently. But the significance of that is that, now the Persians, of course, that means Iranian. The modern-day country of Iran is the center of the Persian culture. It's where everything Persian came from. Zoroastrianism was the main Persian state religion of the time. When they conquered the Jews and hauled them off into slavery or into exile into other Persian cities, the Jews were much mixed up with and seeing basically the god system of this incredibly, enormously powerful empire that easily conquered them. And they said, well, they can't have a better god than we do, so we better get some of these cool god attributes pretty quick. And so they borrowed a lot of the ideas that the Zoroastrians had and added them to their religion. These are attributes of Judaism that did not exist before the exile. You won't find them in the Old Testament writings that were written before the Persian conquest. But afterwards, then you start to see it happening all throughout. This idea, first of all, of a war of a good god versus an evil god, of light versus dark, that was a Zoroastrian idea. The Jews did not have that. Before the Persian conquest, Satan was actually one of the right-hand men of God and was doing the will of God. So when Satan goes down to cause evil, he was doing it on orders from God. He's not an adversary in the sense of the enemy of God. But after that, of course, Second Temple Judaism started to acquire this idea of Satan as a rebel who took a legion of angels, rebelled against God, and was cast out of heaven, and now is responsible for all evil, and now all death in the world and so forth is this big struggle between the good God and the evil God, God and Satan and so on, which the Christians picked up. But that comes from Iran. That's a Persian idea. The idea that the world will end, that was not a part of Judaism before this conquest. The idea that God's justice would be realized in one great apocalyptic cataclysm, that was a Zoroastrian belief. That came from Persia. The Jews liked that idea. They adopted it, and of course they turned everything around so that it would be the Persians that God would melt, and not the other way around. But the idea comes from the Iranian conquerors. The idea that this world would end by a river of fire being sent by God that will flow over the universe and burn everything up except the righteous, that's Zoroastrian, the idea of the great apocalyptic burning. A new, better world that will be created in its place, the future heavenly paradise kind of thing, that comes from Zoroastrianism. That wasn't originally a Jewish belief. And the idea then, the most crucially, that all the good people will be resurrected by God to live in that new world happily ever after, this idea of an eternal paradise life, was not a part of Judaism before. When you died, you just died and stayed dead, basically. You were kind of like a vague spirit in the earth. They didn't have an idea of an eternal paradise or an eternal afterlife, but the Jews picked that up from the Zoroastrians, and it became a fundamental requirement of Judaism. Now, when you look at the Talmud, one of the requirements of being a Jew is affirming that you'll be resurrected. Everyone else is explicitly declared a heretic in the Talmud. And yet, that wasn't a Jewish belief. That was an Iranian belief picked up from the Persian cult of Zoroastrianism. So when you look at this, you realize that this is just man-made religion, right? This is not a single God who thought of all this stuff at the origin point of Judaism. There was no, you look at when God's communicating with Abraham in the Bible, he doesn't say, oh, by the way, the world is going to end at a certain time. I'm going to resurrect everybody. I'm going to burn everything. And there's this awful guy named Satan, and you need to watch out for him. That's not there, right? So all of that stuff gets added on later, and it's borrowed from a human-created religion of Zoroastrianism. So certainly this is a historical piece of evidence that shows that Judaism is not a God-oriented or God-originated religion. It's just another cobbled-together man-made thing. Now, other things, of course, you know there are failed prophecies in the Old Testament, but related to this idea of God, of the Zoroastrian influence on Jewish belief, I'm going to read one particular prophecy that is conspicuous for not having happened, therefore refuting the entire Bible, because they can't possibly be a supernatural deity communicating to these prophets if they get things wrong. And it's also pretty horrific here. And this shall be the plague, I'm going to read. This shall be the plague whereby Jehovah will smite all the peoples that have warred against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall rot away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall rot away in their sockets, and their tongue shall rot away in their mouth. That's, by the way, where Steven Spielberg got the idea for Raiders of the Lost Ark, melting. Here it is. And the same plague shall befall the horse, the mule, the camel, the ass, and all the beasts that shall be in their camps. What do the animals do? That's kind of rude. And it shall come to pass that anyone that is left of all the nations that came against Jerusalem shall go up from year to year to worship the King, Jehovah of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And it shall be that whoever of all the families of the earth does not go up to Jerusalem, that's all the families of the earth, if they do not go up to Jerusalem to worship the King, Jehovah of hosts, upon them there shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt even go not up and come not, neither shall rain be upon them. There will be that plague too, don't forget, whereby Jehovah will smite the nations that go not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. This shall be the punishment of...
Okay, we have someone in the... Okay, microphone's turned on. Mike Hunt! What? What's up? Who are you? You have to unmute your mic, unfortunately, because it's muted. All right, I'll get back to you.
All the nations that go not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Never happened. Failed prediction. But notice this idea of the apocalyptic end world, and also the idea of the Jews as the master race that the entire world will bow down to. They kept getting conquered instead by other nations like the Persians, the Greeks, and then the Romans. So consistently, history turned out exactly the opposite the way that God told them it would. And this, we see, even is connected to aspects of... Oh, that's a shame. This is not coming through correctly. Well, I can't read the passage. The passage is hidden back behind there, and this isn't playing. Oh, I wonder if I can make it play. Let's see if this... No, I don't want to try it yet. So the passage that's behind there is a passage about how God's going to burn everything up, and there's a funny funny line in it in Malachi 4:1-3. Those who have mobile devices can look this up. And what he says there is that the Jews who are faithful of Jehovah will be able to gamble as calves of the stall upon the ashes of the burned up victims, and the step upon the skulls of their enemies. And let's see if this happens. But this is supposed to be an animated GIF from the Terminator, which is supposed to evoke. See if it works. No, it doesn't work. Okay, so unfortunately you lose the video effect. But the joke was that I've heard this, or I've seen this before. Oh, right. Yeah. So that's Judaism. And you could go on and on about that, but the point is it's very easy to look at historical facts and show that it's a man-made religion. It doesn't have a pipeline to God, so it's not a divine thing. And so what they're saying about God is probably not true. But let's look at Christianity. Christianity is originated as a Jewish sect.
We'll look at Christianity in 1 second, but Mike has raised his hand. So Mike, you've raised your hand, so go ahead. Say your thing. You're muted, but go ahead. Unmute. And speak, my friend. Speak. Reveal yourself. I'm trying to give you a voice, Mike. Unmute your mic so that I can hear you. And then we can all hear you. And then, wow, what a show Sidney Winston's putting on. Wow. But I have a very simple statement. All gods are imaginary. Prove me wrong. What if I said all leprechauns are imaginary? Prove me wrong. You'll say, well, I can't prove you wrong because they are all imaginary. Because, Mike, you have to... Sorry, Mike, you can't hear me, but you have to unmute. Mike Hunt.
Like that?
Reveal your... Yeah, it's good.
Okay. I haven't done this before.
No, I had myself muted in here for too long, and I thought you could hear me, but you couldn't. So
okay.
So you had your hand up, sir. Well, firstly, welcome to the show. I don't know if we've interacted before. I don't think so.
What is my name showing up?
Mike Hunt, yeah.
You said Mike Hunt?
Yeah, that's a lot of people use those names as sort of Mike Hunt names. Ha 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 ha. Very funny. Okay.
It's so easy to get you to contradict yourself, Sidney.
Was that the only way? Is that the only
totally
reason
hilarious.
you came in?
Yes.
Oh, you're so childish. Why are you so childish? If you've got something to say it. But to be childish
This is the
like that.
second time I've duped you on your show with a sock account.
You duped me, did you? Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, sure. He duped me. All right. Well, back to the real world, and we'll leave E.A. Dawa's fantasies behind.
And what they did is the original Christians, is they took Judaism and they took this other fashion going on all around them and combined them to create a new version of Judaism, a sort of super Judaism. But notably, they did the exact same thing the Jews did when they were conquered by the Persians. They adopted all of these Zoroastrian ideas and made their religion different by incorporating this foreign culture that had conquered them. Well, this is exactly what the Christians then did, which is to say exactly what the Jews did again. By creating Christianity, is they borrowed all of these ideas of these popular religions around them, held by their conquerors, the Greeks and then the Romans, and created a new religion. And some of the gods that their new god or their revised sub-god would be based on, the son of God, right, is all of these sons of God, except the one on the end is a daughter of God. Osiris, Adonis, Romulus, Selmoxis, and Inanna are just the ones that we know for sure had resurrection cults prior to Christianity. There are many other similar gods that could be put into this category, but they're harder to date. Inanna, on the end, by the way, we have stone tablets dating back to 1700 BC, in which she descends to the lower world. And the ones the Christians would most be aware of are Romulus, for example. Roman state god, his death and resurrection was celebrated in annual passion plays, actually called passion plays. They were actually acted out, the death and resurrection of Romulus every year. It was a Roman state religion. Osiris, Egyptian god, those baptized, yes, baptized, into his death and resurrection are saved in the afterlife. Sound familiar? Zalmoxis is a Thracian, possibly Celtic god. His death and resurrection assures followers of eternal life as well. Zalmoxis was in Herodotus. Their cult is described in Herodotus, and Herodotus was one of the main school texts that would be used to teach how to write for advanced writers who are writing at the level of the writers we see in the New Testament, who are writing in Greek, which means we can be absolutely certain that the authors of the Gospels read Herodotus, because everybody read Herodotus if you learned how to write Greek that well, and therefore they would know about Zalmoxis. It would not be a coincidence. And of course, Egypt is right next to the Holy Land, quote unquote. Therefore, Osiris would be well known to them, and of course they were conquered by the Romans, so they would be familiar with Roman ceremonies as well. But I want to caution, some of the gods that you hear on the internet and so forth as being dying and rising gods were not, in fact. Mithras is one of the common ones that you'll hear about. He's not a dying and rising god, but he does undergo a passion. There is a passion of Mithras in which he undergoes some sort of suffering or struggle through which he acquires victory over death, which he then shares with his followers who are baptized in his name. So there is the similarity is still there, it's just structured differently. Incidentally, all the Gospels of Mithras were destroyed, not preserved. The only closest thing we have hints and quotations and suggestions and descriptions in various places in various texts, but no complete gospel, and this is the only one we have. It's actually the picture Bible version. This is a comic book, essentially, of the story of Mithras from beginning to end, with the central event in the middle. But the thing is this is like having a picture Bible without having the text of the Bible, so we don't actually know what's going on in each scene because we don't have the description. But nevertheless, we can kind of make certain inferences of what was going on through it. But this is the closest we get to the Gospel of Mithras, is this stone comic book, in a sense. But what all these gods do have in common, including Mithras and the other ones, they are all savior gods. They are all the son of God, or daughter of God. Some of them are women. They all undergo a passion, using the exact same Greek word, by the way, which means suffering or struggle in that time. They all obtained victory over death, which they share with their followers. They all do this with some form of baptism or communion, or both. And they all predate Christianity. So what we're looking at here is just like the Zoroastrian scenario. This whole structural idea was borrowed and then added onto Judaism, and what you do when you take these elements and add them onto Judaism is what you get is Christianity, right? So once again, we see a man-made thing. And it wasn't a case where, like to Abraham, God revealed in the Old Testament that there's going to be this Jesus figure, and he's going to, if you have faith in him, you're going to be resurrected and all of this stuff. This stuff doesn't appear until, coincidentally, when the Jews are conquered by a nation that has religions that have these elements. So it looks like man-made, not divinely made. So Christianity is just like Judaism, borrowed from other religions. Let's talk about evil. So I'm going to move on into a different period of history.
Okay, so before we talk about evil, here's the deal. I'm trying to make it less confusing for those people who join the room and get totally lost in the whole plan and think that that they've joined a sandbox or something. So here it is. You join the room, you've got 2 minutes to prove me wrong. All gods are imaginary, you got 2 minutes to prove me wrong. If you accept the challenge, come on in, I'll give you 2 minutes. I'll keep quiet, and you got 2 minutes. Go ahead. That's the setup. That's the infrastructure of this what would I call it? AMA? No, definitely not, because you're not asking me. You are just going to prove me wrong, right? All gods are imaginary, especially yours. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. Your God is imaginary. And you there? Huh? And you there? Yeah, your God's imaginary too. So why don't you all come in and I'll give you your 2 minutes. And until somebody is willing to come in and just give me 2 minutes of proving me wrong that all gods are imaginary, we'll continue with Richard. He's doing a really bang-up job here.
History. Well, it's another broad scope of history. Let's look at it that way. But we'll start with Epicurus. So, given this famous line, is God willing to stop evil but unable? Then he is not powerful. Is he able but unwilling? Then he is not good. Is he both able and willing? Then how can there be evil? Is he neither able nor willing? Then why call him God? That was Epicurus, and as this means.
Okay, so I want to actually focus on this Epicurus quote here. Okay, I'm actually going to repeat it because it's essentially true. You got to get through this in order to somehow unmangle your God, or the attributes of your said God. Okay, so Epicurus said, is God willing to stop evil but unable? Is God willing to stop evil but unable? Because evil exists. Is not God not willing to stop evil? Then he is not powerful. Is God willing to stop evil but unable? Then he is not powerful. True. Is he able to stop evil but unwilling? Then he's not good. Is he both able and willing? Is God both able and willing to stop evil? Then how can there be evil? Is he neither able nor willing? Is God neither able nor willing to stop evil? Then why call him God? Exactly. And that is why I fear very much that till the end of my days, I'll be coming on at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with my daily show of all gods are imaginary, prove me wrong, and I'll be 97 years old, 99 years old, approaching my deathbed at 100, and I'll still be coming up, prove me wrong. And people that are not even born today will come on, and they'll have these newfangled, especially young people. They come up with all these crazy, their little crazy theories, which are pretty hilarious. I mean, look at that the truck driver philosopher E.A. Dawa. I tell you what I'm going to do next after this. I'm going to actually play for you what E.A. Dawa actually believes. Okay, I will get back to the show and leave you all alone to pretty much enjoy every moment of it.
Says atheists winning the argument since 300 BC. There's never really been a good answer to this, but we'll give one example: slavery. This photograph, I don't know if you've seen this before, it's quite famous. This was taken after the Civil War when slaves were freed in America, and this fellow wanted his wounds to be photographed and preserved for memory and disseminated so that people would see the incredible cruelty that American slavery involved. And these are Bible-thumping people, right? These are people who think the Bible is the shit. They did this to him. And this is appalling. How could any God stand by and watch this happening, much less watch it happening being done in his name with people citing his book, worshiping him, his actual worshipers, his actual followers, without saying a word? It's unbelievable. So what is the probability that a benevolent God would have a valid excuse not to say one heavenly word to his devoted believers about this ever in the whole of history, even worse in the time of American slavery? And what evidence do you have supporting that probability? If you're going to make up some excuse, how likely is it, and what are you estimating? What are you basing that estimate on? Those are the questions you would ask. But in reality, from our background knowledge of benevolent beings, because we know lots of benevolent beings, they're called humans. These humans who happen to be nice people, among the nice humans anyway, nice humans with the power to speak unharmed, who don't have to fear anything. I mean, if you're God, you're like Superman, you're invincible. You can't have your head cut off, you can't be shot, can't be burned. There isn't anything they can do to punish you. You can't have your job taken away, whatever it is. If you have no limitations on you that will prevent you from speaking, and you're a nice person, you have no valid excuse not to say anything. In fact, when we look at people, all the examples of other benevolent beings who are in the position of having the power to speak unharmed, a valid excuse not to speak is so rare we never see one instance of it. And the word rare, by the way, means very infrequent, which happens to mean very improbable. And in fact, it's got to be at least millions to one against, because we know millions of benevolent people who are in this position who are vocally saying, condemning this kind of thing. If God is not doing it, then whatever excuse he has to be rarer than millions to one against. So that's one way to look at it, and of course you know many other ways to design that argument in terms of pointing out that the excuses just don't hold up. All they do is make their theory more improbable rather than saving it. But I'm going to turn something around altogether. You've probably heard the philosophical moral argument, right? The morals only come from God. People believe there are morals, therefore God must exist, because where else would morals come from? Well, let's look at history. History actually refutes this. Let's treat atheism and theism as two different theories here. Atheism, as a theory, predicts that moral rules will only come from human beings, they will begin deeply flawed, and will be improved by experiment over thousands of years. Note, that is exactly what we observe. Slavery is just one example of many things where the moral rules were created by humans, they were deeply flawed, completely fucked up, one would say, and were improved gradually, very painfully, slowly by experiment over thousands of years. Therefore, atheism is vindicated by the historical record. Theism, as a theory, however, predicts a universe directly governed morally right from the start. In other words, the correct moral laws are disseminated immediately from the beginning. It would have been 40,000 BC, not 800 BC. But we would also possibly see the universe actually designed to be moral. We would have justice laws, stewardship of the world, enacting justice and mercy on God through God. We see none of these things. All of the things you would expect from a moral engineer are not there. But we observe no such laws built into the universe, no stewards or law enforcers but us, ever. So the theistic theory is completely refuted. Its predictions for history do not come true. It's falsified by history itself, whereas the predictions of atheism are completely verified. So the moral argument goes the other way around. So that's for morals. Now I'm going to talk about things, whether they're moral or not, but they're still involve moral concern. Yeah, what ought you do after you wipe your butt? You wash your hands, right? Okay. Everybody knows this, except Jesus, by the way. In Mark 7, Jesus comments on the Jewish tradition at the time of washing your hands and washing your utensils before you use them for meals and washing your hands before you eat. And Jesus says this is a human tradition. It's not in the Torah. God did not command it. Therefore, you don't have to do it. You do not have to follow this rule. He says that things that go into your mouth can't harm you. Only things that come out of your mouth are evil. And meaning words, of course, but and blasphemies. But the point being is that he clearly did not know about germs, right? This was the best teaching moment in the history of the human race, where if you're a divine being, the one thing you know, if you stumbled across a TARDIS and were able to teleport, in time back to here, and people mistook you for a god and were listening to you, what was one of the first things you'd tell them about is germs, right? Because there's millions of people, kids, women, men, are dying and suffering in horrible ways because they don't know about germs. And simple things, simple hygiene, just cleaning your hands could save countless lives. And you have this guy, Jesus, who's portrayed as going around randomly healing this or that individual isolated person, but doesn't do anything like cholera, done, gone. If it was a god, you could eliminate cholera as easily as laying on hands on the earth, right? Just no more cholera, done.
Okay. We have a challenger. We have a challenger who claims that he can prove me wrong, that all gods are imaginary. Let me welcome Kylo Craig. You have 2 minutes, Kylo. You can start whenever you like. As soon as you start, I will hit the timer.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, so I would say that my electronic device that I'm using right now to talk to you is a god. And I would say that it's not imaginary. That's all the time I need. Is that correct?
Could you repeat that? I didn't understand it. Tell me again. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I said this electronic device.
Yes.
This electronic device that I am using
Yes.
to talk to you, I define that as a God. It's not an imaginary thing. Therefore, my God is not imaginary.
What you said? You defining?
Challenge met.
Yeah. Okay. What are you You're defining an electronic device as God.
Yes.
Is that correct? And this is a
Yes.
Is
this device I'm using? Yes.
Got
This is
it.
God.
Okay. And how does God interact with you?
It's actually it depends on me to interact with it.
Right. So it's imaginary. Okay. Now.
No.
Yeah,
My electronic device is not imaginary.
You just said it depends on you, and if it depends on you.
Yeah, that doesn't make it
depends,
imaginary.
yes, it does.
A chair depends on somebody.
Let me finish. Let me just finish it. It makes it imaginary as a God. I'm saying your device exists, yes, but as a God, what attributes does this device have that other gods don't have?
Well, that's the thing, is that you're comparing it to other gods. Why would you do that? I just said I'm defining it as a god. It has its own attributes.
And what are they?
It's an electronic device. It is not all powerful. It is not all knowing. It is not all loving. It doesn't have any of these attributes. It's an electronic device, and I define it as God. If it is an actual electronic device, that means it's by definition not imaginary, and it's a real thing. So now you can't say that all gods are imaginary, because you know that Kylo Craig's God is not imaginary.
Your electronic device is your God.
Yes.
Okay, well.
Now you cannot say that all gods are imaginary. Thank you, sir. I only needed like 45 seconds. Yes, I still got 1:15 left.
Go ahead. You can take an hour if you like, because this is, if you really think that you're speaking coherently, then I would like to have a deeper conversation with you, because I don't believe that you think that. I think that you're a troll. How's that?
Okay, well, I take this as an axiom.
I understand that. I still think you're a troll.
Well, that's fine. I'm just simply saying is that if your challenge is to say that all gods are imaginary, and I was to say that this electronic device is a god, you would have to admit logically that this electronic device is not something that's imaginary. It's something that really exists in reality.
So you said,
and if I'm defining it as a god, then it's not imaginary.
Hold on a second. You said, if I was to define this device as a god. When you start off with an if, hold on a second, because I've just demolished your argument. When you start off a sentence with, if this device or if this object was a god, then I can tell you that this god is not imaginary, that's fine. But that's still an if. Okay? So,
well, yeah, but sir,
I
started off the conversation.
No, you started it off with if. And when you started off with if, yes, you just did.
At the very beginning of this conversation, I never said the word if. I said I am defining this as a god. So there was no if at the beginning. Sorry, boss.
When I responded to you right now, when I came in and responded to you, because you restated it, you said if, and I'm responding to that if.
Okay, well, I retract my statement.
I retract my statement. Okay, fine.
Yes, I do. We can do that in the court of the law. We can retract statements.
It's funny. Listen, thanks for playing. That was very nice. But I do believe
it's so easy to catch you in contradiction, Sidney. It's unbearable.
I do believe I will be having a show.
Absolutely unbearable.
I do believe I will be having a
45
show
seconds.
Okay.
45 seconds. That's all it took.
I knew it was
How many more sock accounts do I need to make?
I knew it was you, so don't worry about it. I knew it was you.
I know. But I do enjoy having conversations with you, Sidney.
Yeah, no, even absurdity, like your your whatever device being your God. It's fun, if not it's entertaining, if nothing else, right? That's okay.
Yeah, but I mean, just thinking about it, like
No,
if somebody was to define their God as an electronic device, then your statement couldn't stand.
yeah, but then everybody would have a different God. Like there'd be one God for every
Oh, there you
person.
go.
There'd be one God for every person because nobody else would accept Kylo Craig's device as God. Only Kylo Craig, right? So there'd be
Does
one.
that mean that it
Hold on,
doesn't exist?
hold on a second. Let me finish. So Kylo
Okay, go ahead.
Craig, okay, and then Sidney Winston can define his microphone as his God. Because
Yeah, exactly.
right? Okay, so Sidney Winston has a microphone that he's God, but it's no one else's God, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so
There's
so
nothing contradictory about that.
no, but the God relationship between Sidney Winston and the device is imaginary. That is true. That is for sure true.
Okay. So then we might need to change your axioms is that God relationships are imaginary, not gods.
Well, no, because what I said was that you have Sidney Winston and you have the microphone, and the relationship between the two is imaginary. But if what you do is change it to what you want, then you've got Sidney Winston and no microphone, only the God relationship, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you would need the God to have the relationship, exactly, because the God and the relationship are two separate things. That's why I said you would have to reword it and say that all God relationships are imaginary. You wouldn't be able to say that all gods are imaginary.
It's kind of the same thing.
Well, kind of the same thing.
In order to have
actually the same thing.
No, it's not, because in order to have a relationship with God, God has to exist in your mind before you can actually before you can start the relationship.
Yeah, sure. So I say my electronic device is God, and now I can have a relationship with it because it actually exists.
Okay, well,
there you go.
You can pray to. Are you going to worship your electronic device? Is that how? How do I know that? How do you express that? Other than saying to me that your electronic device is your God, how do you worship this God? How do you rely on this God for comfort, etc., etc., etc.?
This God doesn't require worship.
Oh, that's a God I like.
This God is strictly made by science.
Oh, no, science is just a myth.
Yeah, but no, see, I don't have to hold this electronic device that I'm defining as God. I don't have to have it hold to the attributes that the Abrahamic gods hold to. I can give it its own attributes, and as long as these attributes are not contradictory, then this God exists.
You haven't given any attributes.
It's a physical object.
You haven't given any God-like attributes, because you've said what
do you mean God-like?
Well, it's God, right? God has attributes different to a electronic device, correct?
No.
God, yes. God is defined as...
Not my God.
Well, okay, so everybody has a different definition of God. Then we're definitely not going to get a consensus on anything.
Well, that's fine, but that doesn't mean that those gods don't exist if they're defining them as gods.
I don't know. I really didn't understand that. That was kind of spaghetti. Can you start again? Can you try that
again?
Yeah,
so what I'm saying is that if somebody is to define something as a god, which I did define to you, my electronic device, as a god.
You didn't. You didn't define it as a god.
Did.
You said, this is my God, and I asked you about the attributes on you, and you couldn't answer that.
If I call something a god, that means by definition that thing is a god.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, if you say that this is a pencil, hold a pencil up, then it, by definition, a pencil.
Yeah, but it's defined as a pencil first, and it exists as a pencil. But your God
before it can be defined.
No, it exists as a pencil and defined as a pencil before you tell me that this is a pencil because it's defined as a pencil. But God does not exist at all. And when God is defined, when God is defined, like as Darth Dawkins would say, he's a supreme immaterial, where all facts derive, and the ultimate,
the
and
ultimacy
blah, blah, blah.
of reality.
The ultimate, just probably what you actually hold to. So that's just a definition without an object to assign to this definition. It's just
Okay,
it's a
so
it's a
things don't.
it's a concept.
Okay. But hold on, wait. Is that something? Is that concept a something?
No, it's a concept. The concepts.
Concepts don't exist.
They're concepts and they're objects.
So concepts
in the
don't
universe,
exist.
in the universe, we have concepts and we have objects.
Uh-huh.
Objects.
Yes.
Objects occupies three-dimensional space, and concepts have no physical dimension to them. They're just ideas.
So within mathematics, what are they talking about then when they talk about abstract objects?
I don't know. I'm not a mathematician.
Well, these are like
Oh,
secularists
okay, well,
also that
abstract-
believe that they're abstract objects.
Abstract objects are things that can be imagined, but not, but can't be realized in reality. They can be imagined in the mind and mathematically and stuff. But you could draw them maybe and make it look like it's different, but you can't. It can't actually be real. That's abstract.
So these are objects that don't occupy 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
Okay, so then objects don't necessarily have to occupy 3 dimensions, like you said.
No. I misheard you, but objects. I said objects. The difference between objects and concepts is that objects occupy the 3 dimensions. They're shapes. They occupy 3 dimensions. Concepts do not.
Abstract objects are objects, though.
No, abstraction. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. It's kind of an oxymoron to say abstract object, right? But I mean, it's a saying. They do say that. But think about it. It's kind of oxymoronic.
I'm just saying they're defined as objects that don't take up 3 dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
So then you wouldn't be able to say that all objects take up 3 dimensions because abstract objects do not. Conceptual objects like truth. Truth is
what's the
something that
difference?
exists.
What's the difference
Things are true.
between conceptual and abstract? Tell me the difference.
There's not much of a difference unless you're talking about a specific mathematical algorithm.
Yeah, there's no difference. That's the answer.
Okay. Well, I mean that's fine. We could go with that definition and say that concepts and abstract objects are identical.
That's all we have in the universe is concepts and objects. Okay.
Okay.
Let's just work with those two absolutes.
Okay. All right. So does truth exist?
Well, you have to qualify truth about what? No, truth doesn't exist as on its own as a truth because that's incoherent.
Things so you have to have a mind to conceptualize something for it to be true.
You have to have a mind to conceptualize anything.
Okay, so but truth itself would be a concept, right?
No.
So truth is a physical object?
Truth is a noun, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean grammatically speaking, but I'm talking about substantively. Like, what is truth? Is truth something that you can hand me, or is truth something that is conceptualized in the mind?
Truth about what? You have to qualify
about anything.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to qualify. You have to give me some detail about this truth that.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Law of non-contradiction.
The law of non-contradiction. I'm glad you brought it up, but that kills the Trinity theory of Christianity.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, that I do agree. We've had that conversation already, though.
Yeah, I actually have no problem with your understanding of your Allah, of your God, and the way of life that you lead. I actually understand it very much. I empathize with it from understanding that the Jews live exactly the same way of life as you do. The religious ones, anyway, not the crazy ones. Okay, just the regular mainstream religious Jews and Muslims. you know what? They could care less about anybody else's problems. They're enjoying their life.
Well, I mean,
I'm with that
yeah.
because it's a cultural thing, and I'm for that. It's a community, right? No big deal.
The issue is that in Judaism, when a child gets circumcised, the rabbi circumcises him and then literally sucks the blood in the foreskin
Oh, it's I know
off the penis of the
whole
infant.
it's ugly.
That's
The whole thing is ugly. Hello, Jared.
yeah, we don't do that in Islam. What's up, Jared?
Jared, how you doing? You're muted.
Gotta unmute.
One must unmute. I should get rid of that.
There you go. Yeah, he had it for a second.
Oh, all right. That was just a practice run.
Hit it again. Are you there, Jarek?
Jarek. My dear Sir Jarek. There he is. Oh, there he went.
you can only hit it once. If you hit it once, it'll unmute you. If you hit it again, you'll get muted again.
That's right. Oh, I think he's got.
There you go. Now talk.
I think he's a winner. Oh! I got a question for Kylo Craig about his God. Tomorrow, could you decide that something else will be your God instead of this device? Like it'll be maybe your a kitchen appliance or something will be your God?
I may. My dishwasher is a mean mother effer.
Okay. All right.
That is an all wrathful God right there.
Yeah. No, I lose because I just said God and not. Didn't come up with the actual details. God's got the definition of A and B and C and D.
Yeah.
I thought everybody would know what I'm talking about.
Do you like my my whole Kylo Craig thing? Do you get what's going on there?
Yeah. And
it's like Darth.
It's like you win.
It's like Darth Dawkins.
Like yeah.
Yeah, no, think about it. Think about it. Darth Dawkins has Richard Dawkins, a well-known atheist, as his face plastered on a Sith Lord from Star Wars.
Yes.
So I took William Lane Craig's face and plastered it on a Sith Lord from Star Wars.
Oh, I didn't even recognize that. I just thought it was some dude from the internet.
Yeah. No, Kylo Ren from Star Wars and William Lane Craig. It's Kylo Craig.
I didn't recognize that it was William Lane Craig. I'm looking. I sort of see it now, yeah. We lost.
Yeah, I had that one photoshopped.
Nice. Good work, Kylo. Where did he come up with the name Kylo?
Well, Kylo Ren is a Sith Lord in the new Star Wars movies.
Oh. You know what?
Yeah, if you watch the new Star Wars movies, it's Kylo Ren.
I watched the very first one when it came out. And it was just spectacular. But I was also a Star Trek a fan before that. And I found that the screenplay of Star Wars was kind of too American at the end, whereas Star Trek has never come over to me as specifically American, like, American rah rah rah.
Yeah. No, I gotta say, in Star Trek has a lot more like humanism and things like that within it. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the robot and I forget what his name is. Who's the guy who's like the cyborg?
C-3PO? Or
no, not in Star Wars. In Star Trek.
Oh, the cyborg Data.
Data.
Yeah.
Like, and it was talking about like the inherent value of Data. Like, is this robot? Does he really have like? Should we value his life?
He has no feelings. He has no emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I got to say that Star Trek is a lot more like humanistic, more towards like valuing individuals rather than Star Wars is just like this, like you said, like this American story,
Mm-hmm.
about about some protagonist that starts from the bottom and then ends up winning in the end.
Jarek.
All right, let's try again, Jarek.
Oh, then Jarek, open queue. What do you want? Oh, he left.
He's trolling more than I am right now. Just so you know.
Well, you're trolling less because I know you.
So yeah, so now you have to say all gods except for Kylo Craig's god is imaginary.
Yeah, shit, I'll have to do that.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a.
So
yes, carry on. So on. So what?
I was just gonna say, are you? So you're a big fan of Richard Carrier,
Yes, very much.
and he's a mythicist, right?
I think he tends towards mythicism, but lately I don't know. He has said that he could be wrong. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what he is. I know he was a mythicist. I don't know if he still is.
Okay. Yeah, I tried to get him on my show for an interview, but he charges $150 an hour.
I tried to get him on my show for an interview, but he charges $150 an hour exactly. That's why I made those comments about Canadian Catholic. Remember, he went on saying, "I'm in a time of need. I need money for university. I need $5,000." And then he had Richard Carrier on as a guest, and I said to him, how come you need $5,000 for university, but you've come up with $150 for Richard Carrier? So and then I started calling him a grifter, and everybody fucking freaked on me. But anyway.
Yeah, it's okay. You called me a grifter too.
No, I didn't. Did I?
Didn't
no,
you? When I was on my channel, and every time
No.
I got like a payment, I would say Alhamdulillah.
I never called you a grifter. No, not at all.
Okay.
But Canadian Catholic is a grifter because of that incident. In my mind.
So have you had any future conversations with James Henry?
No, I don't really want to.
Okay.
I don't like that. I don't like that kind of hatred that emanates from that man. You know, in your case, it's probably more ignorance, and you just haven't been. It's not high priority for you. But in his case, it's definitely not ignorance, and it's definitely pure fucking venom. It's hatred, and I felt that from him. So I really.
I can't speak for your experiences with him. I haven't had a problem with the guy. He's been good and nice to me. And when I come in here, I'm not in here to like start fights or anything. I just like having fun with you.
Right.
I think it's entertaining.
I know. I'll tell you what. Next time you see him, tell him that you're a Zionist.
As a Muslim, I can't do.
Sure, you can. I'm a member of Muslim Zionists on Facebook.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's a Facebook group. It's huge.
Oh my God! Jared, are you there?
Oh, Mary.
He unmuted.
All right. Well, maybe he'll say something. No.
Now he muted again.
You know what?
Now he unmuted. Now he muted again.
Maybe he should. I tell you, he should designate his device as God. And maybe.
Yes.
Maybe it'll fix itself.
I don't know, because right now, his God would be his voice, and his voice is imaginary at this point until he actually proves it.
No, his point is bouncing off his microphone because it's muted. So, how do I get to 1,000 subscribers?
Um,
Because it looks like all the fun starts happening when you have 1,000 subscribers.
yes, yes. So I would go and create a TikTok account.
No. No.
I'm telling you.
I've
I'm
never.
telling you, that's the quickest way.
Okay, but I've never been. I've never been to TikTok or on TikTok or even watched TikTok. It's to me. It's for a couple of generations below me. TikTok is for children.
No.
TikTok.
There's people of all ages
it's
all over TikTok.
Well, I don't know what it is. I'd rather stay out of TikTok, whatever it is. I'd rather stick to just YouTube, and its popularity and its exposure, and YouTube is the thing, is the shit, right?
Well, I mean, YouTube is pretty popular, but honestly, a lot of people are getting their subscribers and their followers, and I know this from personal experience, from going to other social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook,
Yeah.
TikTok. Gained some subscribers off of Clubhouse. If you go on Clubhouse.
I don't go to Clubhouse either. Clubhouse is where Darth Dawkins is.
Darth Dawkins went to Clubhouse.
Of course, he was demoted. He was kicked out of Discord.
Yeah, he doesn't have a home on Discord anymore.
Yeah, if Discord is heaven, then he was demoted to hell. And that's what's it called? Clubhouse?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, he went to Clubhouse.
Well, I think Darth Dawkins is becoming a has-been, irrelevant now.
Starting to, yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's actually being rebuked by the Christians on Clubhouse. Yeah. There's like Christian rooms. If you go on Tom Rabbit's channel, you can see all the videos where Christians are like saying, "Get out of here, Darth. Nobody likes you."
That's
like
right.
His own people are like,
it's a fact.
Disowning him.
It's a fact. I've seen those. There was one in specifically that wow. I was so I was shocked that he got karma from his Christian friends. I love it.
There's one video on Tom Rabbit's channel you could see. I think it's named like Darth Tries to Take Over Another Clubhouse Room. And if you listen to that eventually, I'm just sitting there for like a half an hour with my mouth shut because me and Darth do not get along.
I watched that one.
And I eventually unmute my mic, and because he's trying to force a conversation on this guy. Right. And I unmute my mic, and I'm like, are you fucking retarded?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how stupid do you have to be when somebody says they want to disengage? Why do you continue to talk to him? This is like verbal rape.
I remember that.
Me and him do not get along. I actually despise him.
No way, have something in common. He's just not a nice human being, Where most people, most trolls and Christians and Jews and blah blah, whatever they are, they're either bad human beings or nice human beings underneath it all. And whereas I believe you are a really nice human being underneath it all, Darth Dawkins is a bad human being underneath it all. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I let people talk. That's one difference, is that I'm not always interrupting people and forcing them to adhere to my script. That's one difference I have with him.
I tell you, there's generic.
If you ever watch Darth Dawkins speak with somebody,
yeah,
like myself, or like Immutable Destiny, or somebody who is really philosophically equipped, because he pretends to be very philosophical, and he knows a lot of philosophical jargon.
But Greg Bonson and Van Til, that's everything comes from both of those. Either one of those or both.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm learning.
But yeah, you just get somebody who is philosophically equipped and actually knows philosophy. has some type of degree in it or has been studying it for a while,
Yeah.
he can't do anything. He gets cornered. And then that's when he starts saying, "Oh, don't ever talk me," and then server mutes him and kicks him.
Have it
And
your
now whenever I'm in a room,
way.
he doesn't even let me talk.
Yeah, he says, "Have it your way," and then he kicks him out. He's such an asshole.
You know. And then once they leave, see, this is what they do.
This is what these atheists
is
do.
what
They
they
are
do.
so deceitful. Yelp.
Yeah, I went in the room after I became a Muslim. I went into a room with him,
Yeah.
and I said, "Hey, so last time we spoke, I was an atheist, and you did your whole ultimacy of reality BS with me. Well, I'm a Muslim now, so I believe in that ultimacy of reality. So
Okay.
I'm to the point that you try and get most atheists. So let's talk about the Trinity." And he did not want to talk about it. I'm like, come on, Darth, you don't want to back up your own views. You just want to interrogate everybody else. Like, I'm to the point that you want me at. So let's
I
talk
love
about
that.
the Christian God.
I love that.
And he didn't want to do it.
I think that every time an atheist goes in, or anybody goes into or a non-Christian goes in to speak to Darth, that should be the question. Let's discuss the Trinity. Come on, Darth. Let's discuss the Trinity. Let's say yes, we'll accept that. We'll accept we'll accept the ultimacy that your God exists, and all this kind of nonsense, whatever you say. But let's discuss the Trinity instead. I think that's a brilliant suggestion. I think you hit upon something.
Yeah, but you'll never get there because he refuses to actually defend his views.
Yeah, so
that's why he's a presuppositional apologist. He literally presupposes that his God exists instead of trying to reason to it.
Yeah. Yeah, he starts with that's what Canadian Catholic does as well. He's actually admitted to it. He starts with God, and then he works down from there.
Yeah.
He said that on, I think it was on Talk Heathen or one of those shows. He made a mistake, I think. No, he didn't make a mistake. He actually meant it. But they usually don't admit it as brazenly as he did.
Yeah, I don't get presuppositional apologetics.
I don't get Christianity. Period.
Well, that's why I get slightly upset with you, because you're like an atheist version of presuppositional apologetics. You presuppose the non-existence of God.
Yes.
Just like they presuppose the existence of God. I don't get either one.
Well, I presuppose the non-existence of God simply because, it's not a presupposition that I do blindly. I presuppose it because of everything I've been told by everyone who believes in God has, to me, been not true. Because nothing that I've been told have I witnessed. So yeah, I do presuppose no God. It seems that this universe continues with as if there's no God. There's callous regard for the human condition by anything outside of nature, and certainly not everybody inside of nature has any. A lot of people have callous regard for human nature within on this planet, let's say, who claim to be God believers. So, to me, there's no evidence. There's just nothing. Conceptually, it doesn't make sense to me because of the eternal nature of energy. So, as far as the creation, you see, my axiom is that energy is eternal. That it was never created. It cannot be destroyed. It's axiomatic. So
yeah, so I mean, you can say that energy, but that means that you believe in the necessary being.
No, it's energy. It's got nothing to do with being.
You would say energy is the necessary being.
It's existence itself.
Yeah, is energy dependent on anything else for its own existence?
No.
Okay, and is energy something that which exists?
Energy is existence.
Okay. So energy is existence, and it's self-sufficient and non-dependent on anything else. That philosophically meets the definition of a necessary being. In philosophy,
No, it does
being
not.
doesn't mean an agency.
No,
There's
it
no
does not. No,
intelligence.
it does not, because it's not a philosophical idea. It's a physical, provable. Here we are. You are part of this reality kind of thing. It's not philosophical at all.
Well, no, you can talk about physical objects in a philosophical manner. And
Yeah.
if energy is a physical object, and energy is something that is being, that does exist, and it is non-dependent and self-sufficient, it is by definition the necessary being. It's the
No, it's not.
it's
I've never
the
heard that.
ultimate. It's,
I've never heard that definition. Show me the definition.
yeah, if you go on the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy and look up necessary being, it will show you that being does not mean it has to be intelligent or have an agency or anything. You would then tell Darth that the ultimacy of reality is energy itself.
It is.
There you go. There's the necessary being. That would mean
But
that
it's axiomatic, and it's not a necessary being because it's not a being. It's
oh,
just
no, I
it's
could
just
show you how
energy.
you could argue to that.
I don't want to argue to that. I don't want to give out mixed messages. There's no
You don't have to.
there's no intelligence to energy, to eternal
There doesn't
energy.
have to be.
There isn't any to eternal energy, but to an eternal God there is intelligence. There's a mind, and there is, energy does not have a mind.
Yeah. So like for example, the contingency argument. It's a cosmological argument that a lot of atheists deny. But the contingency argument states that for all objects that exist, there's an explanation for their existence because they are contingent objects. And it could be that their explanation is another contingent object, so on and so forth. But eventually, you get back to something that's fundamental, something that's necessary, that doesn't have an explanation for its existence. So you would say that everything that
Energy.
exists within the universe is dependent on energy.
No,
So
it's all
you
the
would
same
then-
thing. It's all the same thing. You are energy. I
Yes,
am
but me
energy.
as
The-
a,
the
me as a
tr-
completed
The
object.
trees, the planet, everything is energy. There's vibration. See, the thing about existence is vibration, and at the very, very smallest quantum level, there's vibration, and that's constant. So in everything you see, in every atom, there's always vibration. Okay, there's always vibration. There's never nothing. So that is existence right there. That's
Sure, yeah, but
that's as
what
low
I'm
as you
saying
can
is that
get. You can't get any.
this
You can't go backwards from there.
what I'm saying is that this energy that exists
Yeah.
can be conglomerated within a grouping, like for example, my phone or my desk that my computer sits on.
It's all part.
These are complete.
It's all subsets.
Yeah, but these are completed objects that are dependent on energy itself for these completed objects to exist.
No. Energy. Every object is energy.
That's fine, but
Even
it's a
even every
specific grouping of
even
energy.
even every dead object is energy. Energy is everything.
But if it's an object, that means it's a specific grouping of energy.
Yeah, it's energy that is converted to matter, which is
Okay.
which can be your left ear or you yourself or whatever you want your matter to be. But it's still
So then that
all
energy. That specific grouping of energy is dependent on the energy that existed to create it.
It's all the same thing, I said.
Well,
It's
yeah.
one
This
thing.
is called mereological. This is called mereological nihilism.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that energy, it's all the same. The energy that has always existed eternally is the same energy that you and I and your device God are made of.
Okay, so is the particles of energy, or not particles of energy, but the energy that is me, is it the exact same energy that is you, or are we using different energy?
I'm looking at down to the molecular level, okay,
Yeah.
the cellular level. All of that is energy, okay? So your cells and my cells are exactly the same in terms of what they do. It's just different to who they belong to. Like, for the example,
Yeah, and their spatial location. So we
yeah.
have
So my
energy that's
my
not spatially located right in an identical manner.
my
We have different.
we are, as a being, an organism, as a human being,
Yes.
we have an electrical signal. So we are,
Okay.
yeah.
So organisms are dependent on energy. If it wasn't for energy
No,
existing
no,
at the beginning of the universe,
no,
then
no.
organisms could not exist.
That's, yeah. Well, obviously, they would. Listen, if there was no
Okay.
energy, there wouldn't be a sun, so nothing would exist. And in fact, the whole reason
Exactly.
that we exist is solely because of the sun. Now, how the sun came to be, where it is and where we are, and all this kind
Yeah.
of, that took 10 billion years to happen. But it's solely
Yes. So
because
we
of the
could say that
sun that we exist. Yeah.
human beings are dependent on the sun. The sun is dependent on the energy, and the energy has always
No,
existed.
the sun uses nuclear fission or fusion to create the energy that it sends out to us.
But hold on, are you saying that there's something other than energy?
No.
Okay, so then it doesn't rely on energy from nuclear fusion, because nuclear fusion is energy.
Yeah, but the sun didn't appear out of nowhere. The sun had an evolution, or is on an evolution right
Yes.
now. Right now, it's
Becoming a red giant.
It's the central. It's the center. It's the main event in the solar system here.
Yes. But this solar system is dependent on the expansion of the universe for our solar system to even exist.
Of course.
Okay. Well, then that would match the contingency argument to a T.
I don't see how, but if you say so.
Well, I'm saying that there are contingent things that are dependent on more fundamental things for their existence. Like you just said, this solar system is dependent on the expansion of the universe, or the singularity, for the solar system to exist. And we're dependent on the Earth. The Earth is dependent on the sun is dependent on the galaxy is dependent on so on and so forth. And it goes all the way back to the singularity, which is just pure energy.
It goes back to before the singularity.
Yeah, well, yeah, pure energy before the singularity existed.
Right.
Which means
exactly.
that all these contingent objects are dependent on the very fundamental necessary thing, which is energy. That is, by definition, the contingency argument.
I still don't see how it is. Energy is. There's no contingency. Energy is, and whatever happens, whatever evolves out of the energy is what evolves out of the energy. But the energy is still there no matter what. There's no I still don't understand what you mean by there has to be a contingency.
So the contingency argument is talking about how other things are contingent upon something that's necessary. You're saying that energy is necessary, and there are things that are dependent on that necessary energy.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, yeah, okay, let's say what do you say, energy is necessary? Yes, okay,
Energy is necessary,
yeah, okay,
yes.
let's say that, because that's the axiom, so that's my presupposition, let's say. So energy is necessary, but everything that evolves, it's like Play-Doh. You got your Play-Doh, and then you got everything that you can make with your Play-Doh. It's all still Play-Doh, all right? And that's the way it is with energy and matter. It's all still, no matter what you make out of it, it's all still the eternal energy and matter that's been eternal. Been around forever.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. But we do have a difference between a toaster oven and the solar system. Even though it's all just energy,
Not
there's
really.
a difference between the solar
No,
system and a
no,
toaster.
no. Because if you go down to the element level, right, you know, the table of elements. If you go down to the elementary particle level of the toasters, you know, everything that the toaster's made out of at the elementary particle level, you'll find that the elementary particles that you get out of the toaster are ubiquitous in the universe.
Do you believe that clay or dirt existed before the Big Bang?
No.
Okay, so
Well, yeah.
during
Well, hold on a
during the
second.
Big
Hold
Bang
on a
there
second.
was
Hold on a second.
hydrogen and helium.
Hold on a second. When you see clay dirt existed before the Big Bang, it's all part of energy. So, yes, it did exist, but not in terms. It wasn't clay or energy, clay or whatever you said. It was all, like you say, it was at the time hydrogen, only hydrogen.
Yeah, hydrogen and
Once,
helium.
no, hydrogen is not helium. Hydrogen is the one proton and one electron, the simplest element on the periodic table. What happened because of the intense heat of the expansion, the hydrogen was able to be converted into helium as well. So that's why how hydrogen and helium became the first two.
Okay, so helium is dependent on the hydrogen itself.
No, it's nothing. It's all natural. It's all chemistry.
If
It's
the
all
hydrogen
laws.
wasn't hot,
Yes.
would you get helium?
No.
Okay, so helium's dependent on hydrogen.
Yeah, but the object isn't to create helium. The
No,
objective
but
is not to
that's
create helium.
That's all we need
It's a
is one thing
byproduct.
being dependent on the other.
But a byproduct is a byproduct. Like the byproduct of hydrogen at an extremely high heat is helium. So
Okay.
I've never heard of it said you got to depend. This whole depend thing doesn't fit in scientifically for me.
Okay, let me try and bring it down to like a simpler level.
Okay.
Human feces. Could human feces exist without human beings?
Human feces?
Yes.
No, of course not.
Okay, so the human feces is dependent on the human being for it to even exist.
Yeah, but nature has made that model in your head. You know that human beings have to take a dump every now and again, and
Exactly.
if
Exactly.
human
But
beings
human dumps.
if human beings didn't exist, there wouldn't be human dumps.
Exactly. So the human dumps are dependent on the human beings to even exist.
Right. So when we find
Okay.
when I'm walking around my neighborhood and I find a God dump, I know that God exists. Right.
Exactly. We need to find a
Exactly.
God dump.
We're going to find a God dump.
No, so I would honestly take a look at Dr. Graham Oppie. He's an atheist philosopher, and he talks about this. He talks about the Kalam cosmological argument and the contingency argument, and he holds to both of these arguments, but still is an atheist and doesn't believe that any gods exist.
Well, the problem with the Kalam, as far as I can tell, is that they kind of crowbarred this begin to exist thing. Because that's a little bit it's a little bit dishonest. Because if something exists, it had a beginning. But he says, he says, if something begins to exist.
Yes, so that's what it is.
What
is
is
that
it?
things that begin to
Yeah.
exist have a cause.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Instead of saying if something exists, does it have a cause? He says if something begins to exist, it has a cause.
What's wrong with that?
Because begins to exist doesn't make sense. It exists. Especially if he's talking about something as huge as reality and existence itself, which didn't begin to exist because, like I said, all matter, all energy is eternal. It never had a
Yes.
beginning, and exactly. So the universe did not begin to exist from nothing, which is what he's kind of alluding to, because the energy was there, so it didn't begin to exist. It
Hold on,
exists.
who's alluding
It
to that?
exists. The Kalam. Or
Don't think
or William
anybody has
Wi-
ever made the statement that
Wi-
it came from nothing.
William Lane Craig.
No, if you speak, William Lane Craig had a very drawn out discussion with cosmic skeptic Alex O'Connor, a very long drawn out conversation about the Kalam itself. That would be another one you could do a review on.
Well,
But
no.
nobody ever said that it came from nothing.
I
He believes in God. He believes it came from God.
Who?
William Lane Craig.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah,
said.
yeah, so-
That's what I said.
So it didn't come from nothing.
Well, God doesn't exist. That's my point.
Well, yeah, but you said that he actually stated that it came from nothing. Which he didn't. He said it came.
When
God created the universe.
When something begins to exist,
like human beings.
like human beings didn't. Yeah. Actually, maybe 100 or 200,000 years ago, human beings did begin to exist as a different and unique species. Yes.
Okay.
But
it
didn't begin to exist out of from nothing. It kind of evolved.
Yeah, sure, I agree with that, and I think William Lane Craig does too.
So you
So
say?
do you believe that, like human beings, that everything that begins to exist? Do you believe that we have found good reason to see that these things that do begin have causes? Like human beings had a cause why they begin.
Sure, they have.
Okay.
There's a physical and a chemical cause for everything that exists.
Perfect. So that's premise one. So we're good with premise one then, right?
All right.
Okay. Premise two is the universe began to exist. That's normally the big one that everybody has an issue with.
That I don't believe that, because the universe is basically energy, and energy has always existed.
Yes, but you said that there was existence prior to the Big Bang.
Yes, existence is eternal.
Oh, okay. Is the universe prior to the Big Bang?
No, the universe is a product of the Big Bang.
Okay, so the universe began to exist if there was existence before the Big Bang.
Right, but
So the universe
it began to exist as the universe. It didn't begin to exist as matter or as energy.
Yeah, no, nobody says that. So does the universe begin to exist as the universe?
No, it remains matter. It's what it just remains. It remains energy, and the universe, I guess, is the playground of where energy and matter can interchange.
Okay, and has that playground always existed?
Has that playground always existed? It's always existed for the last 14.7 billion years, yes.
Okay, so prior to that, it didn't exist.
Prior to that, energy. See, we don't know in what form the energy did exist prior to that.
Sure.
Okay, we don't know.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the universe.
I don't know in what form the energy prior to the Big Bang existed, but I know that it existed. So I can't give you the details.
Yeah. But all we need to know is that the universe did not exist prior to the Big Bang.
The Big Bang is not separate from the universe. The Big Bang is the universe.
Okay, so was there something prior to the Big Bang?
There was energy.
Okay, so energy was prior to the Big Bang. The Big Bang is the universe. If there's something prior to the universe, that means that the universe itself, as the playground, began to exist at some point.
No.
So then the universe has always existed, even prior to the Big Bang.
Well, energy has always it's got nothing. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
no, I agree
It
with
doesn't.
you.
It doesn't
I'm so-
matter about the Big Bang or not Big Bang. Energy has always existed. So your what I don't understand what you're trying to get
What
out
I'm
of me.
trying to say is that we can say that everything that exists is made of energy. But the names and labels that we give these specific things, like human beings, in human feces, in universes, in coffee cups, these things as completed objects is how we label them have began to exist.
Well, that's like saying you can't have fatalities unless the plane crash begins to exist.
Well, no, because I mean, fatalities can come from car crashes.
Yeah, but you can't have those unless the cars begin
Well,
to
yeah,
exist.
yeah. So what I would say, I would actually use this: a child cannot survive a horrific car accident without the horrific car accident existing.
Yeah.
So the car accident had to happen first before the child survived it.
Or before the child sitting next to that child was horribly mangled.
Yeah, either way,
Yeah.
the outcome of that situation began at some point in time, and something prior to that it was dependent on.
Well, you can go back to the Big Bang for it, for your dependency.
Exactly. And then what was the Big Bang dependent on? Energy itself.
No, the Big Bang I think was dependent. See, the energy was basically all the mass that we know as the universe today, compressed into something microscopic that you can't even see. And
Yeah,
then
singularity that was smaller than
okay, now that
period.
shows you how strong gravity is. Okay, so once the mass of the let's imagine that you got a black hole and the black hole is being fed. Okay, and all of a sudden it's gaining mass because it's being fed. This black hole's being fed. There's mass, there's planets, there's shit that's falling down, and eventually the mass reaches a certain density and it breaks free of that very strong gravitational bond that's been holding it together subatomically, and that energy, that bang, is what we are. We are the result of. That's us.
Yeah, we're the result of it. Yes. So there's completed objects that if that series of events didn't happen, we couldn't be talking right now. So we would be dependent on that series of events.
Exactly. And if God didn't exist,
There you go.
we'd still be talking.
Well, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We're just talking about the Kalam right now. So it seems like we agree that there are certain things that we label as objects that are all energy, but yet they're distinct from each other. So the coffee cup is different from the International Space Station because we label them as different things.
Yeah, but like I said before, if you take the space station and your coffee cup and you look at the molecular structure of the materials in each one, they'll all be the same.
It's all energy. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. That's fine. And I'm totally cool with that. But the completed object of the coffee cup itself is dependent on the energy that it's made up of.
No, it is the energy that it's made up of. There's no dependency.
Is a coffee cup a space station?
A coffee cup is a coffee cup, and a space station is a space station.
A coffee cup is not a space station, right?
It's not as correct. But
so they're different. They're different things.
At the quantum level, they're the same.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the quantum level. I'm worried about them as completed objects as we label them.
I know, but both the space station and the coffee cup are made up of the same quantum elements.
but yet they're different things.
Well, Earth is different from Mars.
Exactly, yeah. Even though it's all energy.
Of course. I mean, it's not all
Okay.
energy. Mars is of course is matter, and Earth is matter, but matter is energy. It's kind of
Okay, cool.
the same thing.
So then human beings are dependent on their parents, which is dependent on the process of evolution, which is dependent upon the Earth, which is dependent upon the solar system, which is dependent upon the galaxy, so on and so forth, all the way back to this process of the singularity expanding.
It's not dependent.
And prior to,
it's not a dependency thing.
what do you mean?
What I mean?
It's a series of causes and effects.
But it's not a dependent
The
thing.
effect,
Exactly. It's not a
the
dependency.
effect cannot happen.
It's natural evolution.
Yes, but Sidney, the effect, any effect is dependent on its cause, to cause it.
All right.
So if this universe, from the expansion of the singularity to this moment right now, is a series of causes and effects, then each effect is dependent on the previous cause that got it to that state of affairs. So we have just this long line of effects and their causes in which they are dependent upon, all the way back to the expansion.
And before.
And before,
Yeah,
yes.
because we know we can. I'm my speculation, and a guess. Again, I'm not a scientist, but my speculation is that the Big Bang was the result of a black hole being filled up, as it were. In other words,
sure. So the expansion couldn't have happened without that black hole, right?
And that black hole, if you could think about it, if you look up in the sky through a telescope and you see a galaxy, and you see that galaxy has a black hole, so down at the other end of the black hole, at some point, maybe a universe pops up.
Yeah.
There you go. That's how
So
how we're here.
Yep. So that universe would be dependent upon that black hole.
That one would, yeah. No. Yes, our universe is dependent on somebody, on a black hole somewhere.
Yes, on a supermassive black hole.
Yeah.
Which means that now we have both agreed that things that begin to exist, like coffee cups, things that begin to exist like space stations, even though it's all made up at the quantum level, at the molecular level, it's made up of all the same stuff. We still label these objects as different things. We would say that a Bengals cheerleader is not the same as a giraffe.
Let me put it this way: you get a Lego set, and you make a car, and you've got enough pieces to make a dog. So you've got a car and a dog made out of Lego.
Yep.
All the Lego is Lego because you can just break it all up and the car and the dog disappear. But they're still all Lego. So is the car and the dog different from each other?
Yes, they are.
Exactly. But it's really by our definition and contextually and all this kind of stuff, right?
Yes. We would not be able to define that dog as a dog if it were not for the Legos.
No. If it were not for our perception of what that object is. Oh, looks like a dog.
Where does our perception come from?
Well, from our associative skills. We can associate what we see made out of Lego to, oh, look, it looks like a picture of a dog.
And does that ability of association require a brain?
Maybe not with you, but yes, I would require one.
No, we're just going off of like a secular, scientific,
Well, we don't have to go.
So you would say a brain is necessary for us to conceptualize things.
A brain is necessary for us to survive from birth. Do you agree or not agree?
Yeah, no, I'm saying for us to just conceptualize things, for us to think and come up with the idea of a dog.
a brain would need to exist for us to be able to do that.
No, a functioning brain that has a capacity for memory, etc., would need to exist. Because if you see the picture of a
That's
dog and you've never seen a dog before, you've never had a dog, seen a dog, you don't know that dogs exist, you won't recognize it. And if I say to you that that's a dog, you still won't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah. But if we are to be able to conceptualize it, are we only able to do that because we have a brain? In other words, would we be able to do that without a brain?
In other words, if you're dead. Without a brain, you're
Okay.
dead, right?
There's a human being,
Without
that exists.
do you agree that without a brain, you're dead?
Yes.
Okay. Now, a human being without a brain is dead.
Well, I would say that human being does not have a consciousness at all.
Right.
Okay, that means that human being, or that ability that human being has to conceptualize of a dog, is necessarily, it's dependent on the brain, on itself to have a brain, even to be able to do that.
How is that any different from something, say, like an alligator? It's also dependent on the brain, even though it does a hell of a lot less with it than we can.
Yep. So now we're just naming more and more things, more and more contingent objects that have explanations for their existence, and that also are dependent upon other things.
We're talking science.
Even though it's all just energy.
We're talking science now. I love it.
Yeah, but all of this stuff is just energy. But we're showing how even though it's all just energy.
It's not all just energy. Energy is converted into matter and heat in many different ways. It's not all just energy.
So heat is not energy?
Excuse me?
Is heat energy?
Is heat energy? Yes, of course. Heat can be radiated.
Is matter energy?
Heat is radiated, right?
Yeah, but just a second ago you said that no, it's not all just energy, it's converted into heat and matter.
Exactly.
But I thought heat and matter were energy.
Okay, so what exactly are you getting at here?
I'm confused.
Well, okay, open your eyes, look around, and now ask me a question.
So do you believe that heat and matter is energy?
Do I believe that heat and matter is energy?
Yes.
No, that's not true. Matter and heat are
okay. So
sorry. Matter. Hold on. Let me finish it. Matter and energy are pretty much the same thing. They can convert.
Okay, so matter is energy.
So yeah, matter and energy convert one to the other. And the conversion process would be radiation, or what else have we got? Raising temperatures. You can sort of boil. You can boil water. You can raise the temperature.
Change the states of things.
Change the states. It's all but it's all matter converting.
Or it's all energy converting.
Right.
So I would say that all matter is energy, but I do not think that all energy is matter. Because I don't think that heat itself is a
all
physical...
All energy is matter, all matter is energy.
Yeah, I think every physicist would disagree with that.
I would think that every physicist would agree with me. Because matter and energy are the same thing. So you can't say that energy is matter, but matter isn't energy, or something, or whatever you say.
No, so even I've spoken with Lawrence Krauss, who's one of the top leading cosmologists, and he states that energy is fundamental to matter. That matter is a byproduct of energy itself.
It's the same thing.
It's a byproduct.
Well, matter is made of energy.
Yes, but energy isn't matter.
Energy isn't matter, but matter is made of energy.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
So energy is there no matter what.
Yes, but matter is not necessarily always there.
Matter is always there.
Energy can be energy without it being matter.
Matter is always the 1% of what we can see in the observable universe is matter. So you can't say it doesn't exist.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying that energy can exist without it actually being matter.
Can you show me how?
Yeah, heat.
Okay, and any heat is energy being transformed.
Heat is an effect. Heat literally is energy itself.
Exactly.
But it's not a particle.
It's heat energy. It'll be a wave for sure.
It'll be a wave, not a particle. Exactly.
Yeah.
So all matter is necessarily energy, but not all energy is necessarily matter.
Well, that's because the matter that the energy is has not. Nothing's been converted to that matter yet.
So it's
it's like you're saying
say,
that if something doesn't exist as matter, that means that the energy hasn't been converted into matter.
So if I was to say that, I'm going to try and do this. If I was to say that all dogs are animals, necessarily, but not all animals are necessarily dogs.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying about matter and energy.
No, well, with your dog and an animal, there's a hierarchy, right? There's a natural hierarchy of.
Yeah, energy is the hierarchy of matter.
Energy is like the essence of everything. But with dogs and what did you have? What did you say? The dogs and
animals.
Yeah. You said okay. There's animals, and a dog is a subset of animals. So
exactly.
Right.
Yes, just like matter is a subset of energy.
I don't see how matter is a subset of energy. Because energy is everything. And matter is everything.
I would just look into this because, like I said, I've spoken to Lawrence Krauss about this.
Well, it doesn't really matter. The issue is the eternal nature of the energy that we're speaking of. You claim that it is not eternal, that there's a divine intervention somewhere, and I claim that it is eternal, and everything that I can perceive and conclude is that my position is strong.
Yes, so I'm not even challenging my own right now. We're just kind of looking at your position and how it lines up with both the contingency argument and the Kalam, which I think it's lining up perfectly because within the Kalam, it states that all things that begin to exist have causes. We've already agreed on that. Now, you said that the second premise is the universe began to exist. Now, you said that prior to the universe, there was energy. Prior to the Big Bang, there was energy. So if we're just defining the universe as a specific conglomeration of energy, and energy existed prior to that very specific conglomeration, that just like humans began to exist 200,000 years ago, the universe began to exist 13.8 billion years ago in the same exact way.
The evolution of the universe specifically did begin at the Big Bang.
Okay.
But the whole of existence is eternal with no beginning and no end, which means that that we don't know how long before before this universe appeared,
Sure.
there was yeah, time doesn't make it. But what I'm saying is that
Yeah,
we
no,
know
that's fine.
I can assume that there were many other universes around before this one, and probably all at the
Uh-huh.
same time, and there'll be many more after this
Gotcha.
one, and all this kind of stuff. But there will always still be energy. I don't see how
Perfect.
a anything non-natural can in any way be crowbarred into my argument.
Yeah, no, hold on. I'm not trying to do that. I'm simply saying now we definitely agree that the universe, our observable universe, did begin to exist 13.8 billion years ago.
No, it
And you said that
evolved.
there
It evolved. It didn't.
evolved from other universes.
No. It evolved from whatever caused the Big Bang. It evolved from. It's just a continuing evolution
Whatever caused the Big
yeah.
Bang.
Whatever it took for the mass to outstrip the force of gravity that is our Big Bang, that is our universe.
Mhm.
There was a build up to that.
Yes, build up to that beginning to happen.
Exactly.
Okay, so the universe, as in this process of this evolution of the expansion, began at some point in time.
Yeah, 14.7 billion years ago. Yes.
Perfect. So the universe began.
Okay.
Okay, that's premise two. And then the conclusion to that premise is that the universe has a cause for its beginning, or a cause for its existence.
Of course, it's a
So
natural
there was
cause.
something that caused that. There was
Yes.
something natural that caused the universe to begin.
I
Right?
just said what it is. It was when the density was able to conquer the force of gravity.
Okay, perfect. Now that's the Kalam cosmological argument. That's literally all it is.
Yeah, but we don't need that in order to understand that energy is eternal.
Well, no. That's the next argument. That is the contingency argument. That shows that now we know the universe began to exist. Now we need to figure out what caused the universe to exist, and then you're saying that energy is the thing that caused the universe to exist.
No, I never
13.8
said
billion
that. I
years ago.
never said that. You see, this is what I can't understand why you do these things. I just said to you that there's an evolution. All right, so something, a massive, huge, big hole was filled with matter, and the matter and all the gravity that was holding this matter together was conquered by the amount of matter. Let's say, by the forces that made up the mass,
Yes.
the mass, or
And it made the Big Bang.
right? And bang! So here we are. Okay.
Okay, and it
Pure,
made the Big Bang.
purely natural, purely scientific, pure physics and
Yes,
chemistry.
Sydney, I'll say it for a fifth time. I'm not trying to enter anything supernatural into this whatsoever. I'm simply saying that you believe that the fundamental necessary existence is energy itself.
I don't
In
know.
this energy.
No. You again. You put words into
You've
my
already
mouth.
said this.
You put words into my
I'm
mouth.
not. I
You-
can
you-
literally,
you
I
put-
can clip all these together and show you in a video on my channel that you've said all of this
I've
stuff.
never said I believe anything. And you
Okay,
just said
how
to me,
much money
hold
do you
on,
want to
hold
give
on.
me if I can prove you wrong?
You just said to me, you believe that energy, whatever. I don't believe it. I know it. It's not a belief. It's not something that
Actually,
I can.
knowledge
It's
was
not.
a subset of
It's
belief.
not
You have
something.
to believe something
It's
before
not
you can know
something.
it.
It's not something that I can overturn. Okay.
Okay,
That's
okay.
what I know.
All right, Sydney.
It's not
Sydney.
a belief. It's not
So
a belief.
knowledge,
Just know that it's not a belief. Okay.
Knowledge is no. Knowledge is a belief.
No,
Can you tell me something that you know
no.
that you don't believe?
I'm going to stick to this. That I'm going to stick to my argument on this one.
You haven't really stuck to anything yet. You've been waffling back and forth.
Well, that's your perception because you don't know how to listen, maybe.
Well, no. I can literally clip
these videos out and use your own voice
you
recordings
have
to show you how
you
you're
have
doing that.
you have threatened to do that before, but I'm waiting.
Oh no! I got my editor. I think either tonight or tomorrow he's going to do the other one.
Beautiful. Oh, is another one there?
I'll definitely I'll get this one done.
Oh, so the first one, you remember the one that you did on me the first time where you said that I was doing damage control because that atheist was just wiping the floor with you, and you said, I was saying to in that video, holy God, look at this atheist. He absolutely demolishes a dawa, and you did a video saying that I was doing damage control when he actually did demolish you. That's what I thought was
no.
That's
If
where
you
I
look
thought
at my
you were
comments,
doing damage control.
there were even other atheists in the comments section of that video that were telling me to find more challenging people because this guy had no clue what he was talking about. Other atheists were saying this. So Sidney,
So
when
what are
you
you
say
doing?
that this guy demolished me,
What are you
that
doing?
just lets me know that you didn't really understand what was going on.
If people were telling you not to waste your time with me because I was like low hanging fruit, then what are you doing here? I'm low hanging fruit. I'm low hanging fruit, my friend.
I don't discriminate.
Okay.
I'll talk to anybody, even the low hanging fruit.
Oh, is that your excuse? Okay.
Yeah, you bring me Grandma and I'll talk to him too. I'll talk to any atheist.
Are you saying there are no
He's been
other
too scared to talk to
there
me.
are no other streams that you could go and join that are run by atheists, for example?
Really?
There has
if
to
I
be.
can prove you wrong, will you shut your channel down?
It's Friday night. There has to be another one somewhere.
No, not at 12:19. People are normally smart enough to know that they need to do it around
I started
around 7, 8 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah,
that's normally a good time to stream.
I started at 10 Eastern time because I'm Pacific. So I started at 7. I'll do this nightly from 7. It might change the time, but I'll do it nightly as a thing. See what happens.
Okay, so anyways, kind of back to this knowledge thing. Okay, so do you know is there anything that you know that you do not believe in?
What?
I'm asking you if you said that it's not a belief, it's knowledge. Now I'm asking you, do you know anything that you don't believe in?
Do I know anything that I don't believe in? Yes. I know that Christians believe in Jesus.
Do you believe that you know that?
I know that I know that.
Yes, and knowledge is, what is knowledge by definition?
Knowledge that I have is what I know.
Knowledge by definition is a justified true belief, or a JTB. Knowledge is a belief that is both justified and true.
Even Cafe agrees with me that I'm low-hanging fruit.
Uh-oh.
And then
Cafe's in the chat.
And Cafe's, he's a Christian.
No, he's not.
Sure he is.
No, he is not.
What is
I
it?
guarantee you he's not.
Oh,
I honestly don't know. He's spiritual.
Okay.
He's spiritual. He will talk to you all day long about like psychedelics and like all kinds of drugs that gives you God consciousness.
Oh, so he's like a proto-theist or something.
He likes talking about acid and DMT and stuff like that.
Well, I believe I could have a better conversation with you because I can relate to you. I would never be able to relate to that guy.
No, I've talked to him before. He's decent. He can troll sometimes, but he likes talking about drugs too much for me to have on my channel.
Oh, I just find talking about drugs kind of boring.
Well, I've experienced a lot of different drugs, so I mean, I can relate to him in that sense.
I suppose that's why. I've not, weed and is the basic experience I have. Cannabis.
Oh no, you need to try acid.
No,
LSD.
no, I've never done. I've never done LSD. Actually, I've done. Actually, I might have. I know. I
Mushrooms?
did. I did MDMA,
Oh, okay, MDMA. Okay,
but that was back
gotcha,
in. That was back like in the 80s.
gotcha.
And
You never chased around what's that Grateful Dead?
no, I was never part of that at all. No, um, I was dead against chemicals, putting chemicals into
Okay.
my body. That was. I've always been very careful of what I put in my body, and certainly chemicals and drugs and shit like that would be the bottom of my list. So I've never been caught up in that culture because of my fear of what would happen to me if I put chemicals in my body. Because, um, as you know, when I die, I'm dead, right? And so I
Hmm.
don't want to do anything that'll hasten that conclusion, especially unnecessarily.
Yeah, yeah. So what I was saying before is that everything that you know, it's knowledge because it is a belief that you hold that is both justified and true.
All right, that's good. If you insist.
Well, I mean, I think
No, I'll go with it. I'll go
everybody
with it.
both.
I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Let's okay. Yeah, carry on.
Okay. So then your knowledge is a subset of belief. Even Matt Dillahunty says this.
Well, that's not the way I see it. So, if you say it, then I don't quite understand what you mean by that. Because knowledge is, if you say knowledge is a subset of belief, I don't understand how you conclude that. So, I'm going to just pass.
Okay, so if I start off by saying I believe that I'm speaking on Sidney's YouTube channel right now, and right now I'm just sitting in a room with you, right? I'm sitting in a Google in like some Google Meet room, right? And I'm not on YouTube right now, so I don't see that. But I'm going to say that I believe that I'm speaking to you and that we are on your YouTube channel right now. And I'm justified in believing that because I have seen you speak to other people and myself on your YouTube channel before. Now, if I was to go and look on YouTube and verify that I was speaking to you, that would make my belief true.
Yes, but
So
your
now
belief,
I've made my belief justified and true, and now I can upgrade it from belief to knowledge.
what was the trigger for the belief in the first place?
My experience.
So it's not a belief; it's a conclusion.
No, I'm experiencing speaking with you right now, but I could also do this in a dream. That doesn't mean that it's true that I actually had a conversation with you.
Yeah, but then that would just be like you dreaming that you met God and then trying to tell us. That wouldn't work.
Yeah, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. There would need to be a way to justify that
Exactly.
belief.
There's you telling anybody about a dream that you had is only relevant to the facts of your dream, but that's not relevant to anything else.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not arguing that. I'm just simply saying that a belief or that knowledge is a belief that you hold that is both justified and true. And if we agree upon that, then you would say that all of your knowledge is also beliefs.
I I I wouldn't go to belief because if I know something, there's no necessity for me to believe it or say believe it. It just doesn't make sense. I know it. So
I don't think that I could believe in something or know something that I didn't believe in. I can't say that I know that God exists even though I don't believe in it. That doesn't make any sense to me. I would have to say I know God exists because I believe in it.
well, I know that God doesn't exist. It's not a belief thing. So
You know
you
that God
yeah,
does not exist. Now, did you start
exactly.
off with that?
You have
Did
wiggle
you start off with knowledge?
you have wiggle room in your argument. I don't.
Well, yeah, but that's the problem is that you don't have that wiggle room. So
No,
did you start off with knowledge?
that's what makes my argument credible. Because
No. Were you
there's no wiggle
born?
room. There's no wiggle room.
were you born with the knowledge that God did not exist?
Maybe.
How can you substantiate that?
Well, I said maybe. I don't know. But I certainly concluded it when my mind was by the time I was 9 years old. So if it takes nine.
Okay. So at one point in time, could you say that you believed that no gods exist?
No, because I never thought about it until one night it sort of hit me. Oh my God, my grandfather died. Where is he? What's going on? And it hit me that there is. I essentially understood what the word oblivion means by a dream that I had about my grandfather who had died, knowing that he's gone. I'll never see him again. It's going to happen to me. It happens to everybody. Death is death. I have that. That is my experience. My first experience with death. It had nothing to do with God. It really had nothing to do with God. It's just like I just knew that the death was the end of your life, and oblivion is next, which is nothing. So
this experience that you had nothing to do with God, but yet gave you the knowledge that God does not
there's
exist.
nothing to do with God. It was my experience of understanding, coming to terms with knowing what death is. By having somebody that I loved die when I was 8 years old or 9 years old.
So if it had nothing to do with God, then how can you use this experience to conclude that God does not exist? It had nothing to do with him.
Because the claim is that, hold on, I was 9 years old. I hadn't been introduced to God yet. But so it had nothing to do with God. It was just having the understanding that I'm going to die as well, and it's going to be over. It had nothing to do with God.
Okay. So I believe that you necessarily at one point believed that no gods exist, and then you substantiated or justified that belief, and then it became knowledge.
No. I said to you that I had no concept of God at all until I was 12 years old. Okay. So when I had my dream when I was 9 years old, my dream where I realized that death is the end of everything, that you live once and then you're dead and that's it. That had nothing to do with God. That was just me understanding the what happens when you die. You die, you're dead. You're dead. That's it. You're dead. That was my dream, knowing that when you're dead, you're dead. And I haven't been convinced that I'm wrong in any way whatsoever since that dream at 9 years old.
Okay. So what so at that point, then I would ask, could there be a God that existed to where even though you die, you're still just dead? There's no afterlife?
No.
So if a God exists, there has to be an afterlife?
Absolutely.
Why?
That's the reason that people believe in God, so that they can have a nice life after they die.
No, there's people that believe in God that think when they're dead, and that's it.
Oh, so they think that God's going to help them through this lifetime, and that the reality is going to be disturbed every now and again by God's miracles?
No, like just think about a deist. A deist believes that some God created this universe and then kind of like just stepped away from it and left and went and did something somewhere else.
Right. So what's the difference?
Which means that when they die,
yeah,
that there's nothing. They're just dead.
Right.
Just like any atheist would believe, but they believe in a God.
So what's the difference between eternal energy and a deist, whatever this deist?
Wait! I don't want to move on from this.
Yes, I do, because now you're bringing deism into it.
No, because
there's
you
no
said
difference between
if somebody
deism.
believed it, if you said if a God exists, then there has to be an afterlife, and I'm giving you people who believe in a God that do not believe in an afterlife, showing you that it's not necessary.
Thank you for the correction. I appreciate it. But
yeah, so
but it's still irrelevant.
Is not necessary to God.
Okay.
Well, no, it is, because
No, it's
is
not.
because you're predicating your knowledge of God not existing to this experience you had about death.
No, it had nothing to do with God. You don't understand. I said it before. I said it's
You,
got nothing to do with God. It was the realization that death is finite. And that's
okay.
it. And that's it. And oh my God, it's going to happen to me. It had nothing
And then
to
when you were
do.
12,
It had nothing to. When I was 12,
mm-hmm.
when I was 12, and I was taught or learning how to read the Bible, the Old Testament,
Okay.
Genesis, in the original Hebrew, which I started learning at 6 years old. So for 6 years, I learned Hebrew. At 12 years old, they introduced reading of the Bible. They didn't not commentary or anything, just reading of the Bible, so we can show that we know how to read our Hebrew. Okay, so
Okay.
we read the Bible, and in the beginning God created the and the Spirit of God was like sort of what was the word? The Spirit of God was kind of wafting over the tohu vohu, which is kind of the 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 craziness that was, I don't know, it just made no sense. Okay, so from the age of 12, that whole story from the Old Testament, from the very first time I read it, I didn't buy it because
Okay.
because I had not been indoctrinated with having to believe in a particular god or any god whatsoever. It was never. My parents were anti-religious, and do not you do not. There's no religion in the house. Forget it. It's a rule, and that was always a rule ever since I grew up. We never spoke religion in the house. So everything I picked up from outside the house. Okay, and God I got from the school, because I went to a Jewish school that taught Hebrew, and it was part of the curriculum. Not so much it wasn't religious. It was a very secular school, but it did have a very intense Hebrew language focus, and so I was very good at languages, and so I understood what I was reading in the Genesis 1, and none of it struck me as being anything other than just craziness. So
Okay. So at this point, you've rejected Christianity.
no, I didn't even know about Christianity. I was a little Jewish boy. Okay, so at this point, I'm just rejecting. I'm just saying that this God, this Yahweh, that's in Genesis 1, this
Okay.
Yahweh, that's the one I'm rejecting. I'm just rejecting the whole concept of God,
Okay.
in the beginning. That whole in the beginning God. No. So the first
Uh,
4 words I've rejected. The whole Bible.
uh, okay. So in the beginning, God, you reject that.
No, I reject that God. In the beginning, God. No, wrong. Firstly, there's no beginning, and secondly, there's no God.
You just admitted that the universe has a beginning.
Yeah, well, you just don't let me finish, do you? Okay, I said, let me start again. Firstly, there's no
Go ahead.
beginning, and secondly, there's no God. The beginning
Okay.
is really just the continuing evolution of something prior. It's not a beginning. Okay,
Yeah, but you said there's a
because our energy is eternal. So nothing is the beginning of something is just the end of something else, but it's all the
okay.
same energy.
That's fine. It's a cause and effect. So an effect begins to exist.
Yeah, but it's not. It's all natural. It's
That's fine.
all about the energy,
That's fine.
and that's why when
So
I read this God thing, and I had. I had a little experience when I was 8 years old with cosmology. So I knew the expanse of the universe, and I knew about galaxies and stuff like that, and I knew how huge our universe was. So by the time I was 9, I knew how huge our universe was, but I didn't know about God. So I had my epiphany that we're all just gonna die. Death is a finite thing. There's no there's no recovery. There's no continuation, and by the time I was 12, I was given this story in Hebrew about God, which of course I knew was made up. It's simple. That's it.
Okay. So you read the Bible and dismissed every single God claim that has ever been brought to the table because
Of
you were
course,
reading
of
the
course.
first 4 words of the Bible.
Yeah. No, no. The first 4 words of the Bible got me into the mindset that this is not true. In the beginning, God. There's no God, so how can in the beginning God? Okay. And then since then, up until today, of course, I've read a lot of the Bible, and I reject all these spiritual nonsense claims that are made.
Okay. What about Hinduism?
I reject. Do you accept that Elijah, Elijah went up to heaven without being killed first?
It's logically possible, yeah.
Well,
I can't find a contradiction there.
okay, fair enough. But then, if that's the case, then wouldn't he be more divine than, say, Jesus? Why isn't he worshipped?
What?
Why isn't he worshipped? He went up to heaven, just like Jesus went up
He
to heaven.
didn't
Just
go
like,
up to heaven by himself.
just like Allah went up to heaven. It doesn't matter. He went to heaven. Why
No,
isn't
Allah didn't go up to heaven.
Allah went on a horse or something? Didn't he?
No, that was the prophet. He was just a human being.
The Muhammad guy, he went up to heaven. Well, Elijah was
Yeah.
also just a human being. So Muhammad went up to heaven, and Jesus went up to heaven, and Elijah went up to heaven. Why isn't Elijah something special?
Enoch.
Why isn't Elijah something special like Jesus is and like Muhammad is? Because they all three went up to the same heaven.
Yeah, and they're all 3 just human beings that God brought up there. So the one who's worthy of the worship is the one who brought them up to heaven. They didn't do it themselves.
Yeah, God brought them up to heaven.
Exactly. So so I only would worship God. Elijah didn't bring himself to heaven. God brought him to heaven.
Then why do you care about Muhammad?
Because he's the human being that received the message.
Yeah, so
That's it.
So what about Elijah? He also received the message. He also healed people before he was taken to heaven.
Yes, and peace be upon him.
Right.
He's
so why
equal to Muhammad. He's also equal to Moses and Noah and Elijah and Jesus and all the other prophets that received the message.
What about that dude who touched him before he went up to heaven? Elisha? Remember, he went up to heaven, and this guy managed to touch the robe of Elijah.
I think so.
Okay,
Like that.
I think that was Elisha. Let's just say his name was Elisha. Then why isn't there a whole religion devoted to accepting Elisha as the prophet of Elijah?
I don't know. I'm not really understanding why that's relevant.
Because being resurrected to heaven seems to be something that is special, right?
Special in what way?
In that it only happened to Muhammad.
No, it happened to Muhammad, Jesus, Elijah, Enoch. Happened to several people.
Right. So why then are?
So then why is it special?
No, it's special obviously because it happened to half a dozen people. You say. Why do not all half a dozen people get the same share of the respect and worship that
we do?
No, Muhammad gets a lot more than Elisha, and Jesus gets a lot more than Elisha, and everybody gets a lot more than Elisha.
You just don't understand.
Oh,
it's specifically, I can bring you verses from the Quran that state that all of the prophets, hold on, since you haven't read it, I can bring you verses out of the Quran that specifically state that all of the prophets are equally valued.
I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the ones who were directly responsible or directly connected to somebody being resurrected.
I don't understand why that's important at all.
Well, Muhammad is revered because he's directly responsible for
Is Muhammad
Hold
the
on a
most
second.
quoted?
Hold on a second. I think I got it backwards. Allah is revered because Muhammad is the one who brought him into existence, as it were, and so there's a religion, Islam, right?
No.
Jesus is revered for the same reason. In as far as Judaism is concerned, it's Yahweh for the same reason.
No.
Because they do miracles. They do miracles. They perform miracles.
I believe that in the Torah and the Bible, in the Old Testament,
yes,
they were all Muslims.
Okay, fair enough. But did Elijah not perform? Did Elijah not perform miracles?
Yes,
he did. He did, and then he went to heaven, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So what is what? Why is there no? I don't see anybody in your Muslim, in your Islamic religion revering anybody else other than the one person out of half a dozen who went. Who was responsible for a deity, let's say.
And you're saying that one person that we revere is Muhammad,
and
right?
That one person you revere is Muhammad. What I said was that, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This tells me that you have not even started to read the Quran. Because Jesus is quoted more in the Quran than Muhammad is.
Well, why wouldn't he be? Because if Muhammad wrote the Quran...
Well, no. But Muhammad would be because he's apparently, according to you, the most revered person in Islam.
According to the way I understand it, Allah dictated the words of the Quran to Muhammad, and he spoke them so that other people could write them out.
Yes, but it was the exact same message that has been brought before to Moses and Noah and all the other prophets to worship the one true God.
No, you can't compare Muhammad to Moses, because unless we all know that Moses did not exist. So, and we all know that Muhammad did exist. So how can you compare Moses to Muhammad?
Because Moses did exist.
Moses did not exist. We all know that.
Yeah. You don't know. No, when you say we all, I don't know who you're talking about.
Okay, let me ask the chat. Did Moses exist?
I think the most honest answer for the chat would be I don't know.
But we know Moses did not.
You cannot prove Moses' non-existence. You can show that it's unlikely that that specific person existed, but you will not be able to show the non-existence of a specific human being 6,000 years ago.
Who went up to the mountains and got the tablets from God.
And got the message from God that we should believe in just one God.
No, that didn't happen.
The same message that Muhammad got?
That did not happen. That is from the Bible. That's because the Bible tells me so. That's one of those things.
Yeah, no, but that's
how do you know Moses existed? Because the Bible tells me so. Where else is Moses?
No, I don't know that Moses existed.
Moses did not exist.
No. But you just made a claim that I said I know Moses existed. No, I don't.
You mentioned Moses.
I wouldn't be able to prove that.
You compared Jesus to Moses.
Yes,
sorry. Muhammad to Moses. But you don't have to believe that Muhammad existed because you know he existed.
No, I believe that Muhammad existed. See, I don't make these bold claims that I can't back up like you're making.
Did Muhammad exist as a historical figure or not?
I believe that he did.
So there's a chance that he didn't.
Yeah, there's always a chance that I could be wrong. See, I don't make these bold claims like you do.
You are taking an extremely ridiculous position because we all know.
I would find this to be more reasonable.
Because we all know that besides you, every single person in the world who has knowledge of Islam believes that Muhammad was a real person.
Believes, exactly. You are correct. They believe it. Just like I said.
Okay, but can I also say that they, besides you, but can I also say that they all know that Muhammad was a real person?
There's some people that will make the claim that they know
No,
it.
besides you. You don't have to, I'm not talking about you, but can they all?
Yeah, that's why I said some people. That would mean not me.
Will they all say that
No,
I know?
They won't all say.
I know that Muhammad is a historical figure.
No, they will not all say.
What will they say?
I don't know. I don't generalize people. You're going to have to ask the specific people, and some of them might have different answers than others.
Okay, so you just want to. That's fine. All right.
I don't generalize.
No, what you're saying is you don't want to. You don't want to talk specifically about this topic or answer specifically the question, and I'm good with that.
Oh, no. I have. I've specifically answered the question to my belief. I said I believe so.
Well, that's like a.
That's literally answering the question.
No, that's literally like a get out of jail free card.
No. It's
Yes,
like
yes,
the agnostic atheist position.
What? I'm not an agnostic atheist.
I know, but okay, so are you willing to say on your channel right now that anybody in your chat that watches your channel, one of your 670-something subscribers or however many you got, that if any of them are a lacktheist or a agnostic atheist, that they're completely unreasonable and they just have a get-out-of-jail-free card?
I had 681 subscribers, and then Cryptomeria removed all her accounts that were subscribed. Now I've got 677.
Okay. So
yeah.
Your 677 subscribers,
yes.
If any of them are agnostic atheists who do not know if there's a God or not, but do not believe, are you going to say that they're using a get out of jail free card?
Okay, let me see if I can unpack this. If any of my 677 subscribers said said that they know. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? I'm not.
Yes, they say I believe there's no gods. I don't know if there's no gods. Would you tell them that they're using a get out of jail free card?
That's not what we're talking about, though.
No, but it is. You just answered the question.
You said the question the statement I made was, and I'm leaving you out, that everybody else in the world says that they know Muhammad existed. They won't say, I don't know, but I believe, because everybody knows that he existed. That's what I'm saying. You however, don't know, but you believe. Which is fine, but you're the only one in the whole world.
That's not true. I speak to people every single day that agree with me.
Well,
you might need to get out more.
Well,
meet some more people.
I need to meet the same people that you speak to? No, I don't think so.
Well, I mean, because then you'd actually have more knowledge and not just run off of assumptions.
Knowledge about what? Islam?
That there's other people that exist that agree with what I'm saying. As you're sitting here saying that there are not.
Well, I don't see...
and I can literally bring you these people.
I don't see how you can say that Muhammad might not have existed as a historical figure. You're the only person...
Because this reality could all be a simulation.
Well, there you go. You just lost the whole argument.
No, I didn't. I just showed you how you couldn't know anything.
You just made a fool of yourself.
No, I'm literally bringing you philosophical issues that you can't solve.
You said reality could be just a whole simulation. That's what you said.
Exactly.
That's making a fool of yourself.
No. Is that possible?
No.
Oh, so we haven't created video games to where people live their lives like The Sims?
That's within reality. What else? Are we talking about reality itself?
Yeah. Well, what if those people in the Sims game believe that they're living in reality?
Well, what if they're not?
Well, no, that's not the question. Just answer my
Yeah.
question. What if they believe that they're living in reality? Is that the real reality? Is our reality the real reality?
It's some reality.
Okay, so what if we have a sim reality and there's another reality out there of those who created us?
What if?
Yeah, you could never prove that wrong.
What if there was a teapot floating around the planet Mars, but you could never see it because somehow it's like our moon. It's always stuck in one place on the other side. And I claimed that it was a magic teapot and it was purple. What if?
so-
what if? Huh? Tell me, what if? You see?
Yeah,
You see,
I mean, that's possible.
that's how silly a what if question is. It's not possible.
No,
It's
you just
not,
don't understand
it's,
what modal logic
It's
is.
not possible.
Okay, then what's the contradiction?
You said there was a contradiction. I just said to you.
If you say it's not
I
possible,
said to
that
you,
means that necessarily has a contradiction.
you're claiming that it's possible that Muhammad did not exist.
Wait. You keep
say
jumping subjects.
you say
Stop
you
jumping around.
don't know that Muhammad exists. You believe that
Stop
Muhammad.
jumping around. I'm going back to the teapot. I'm going back to what we were talking about before you tried to escape.
we already dismissed the teapot, but I'm going to
No.
go back. Yes,
I
you
haven't
did.
yet. I haven't yet. So you
yeah,
don't
I
want to
have.
talk about
I
it. You're
have.
too scared. You're too scared. You don't want to.
Okay, whatever. Yes, I'm terrified. So let's go back to Muhammad. So Muhammad.
Okay, so you don't want to address that.
No,
Okay, gotcha.
no, that's right. I'm terrified. So the Muhammad said, Muhammad, you believe existed, but you don't know existed, because we might be living in a simulation.
I mean, that's one reason.
Right.
There's many reasons why I believe without knowledge.
Well, I tell you something. I can't argue against that because that's crazy.
Exactly. It's not crazy.
It's totally crazy. It's insane.
What's crazy about me holding beliefs that I don't want to say I know absolutely true for
okay,
sure?
All right.
What's crazy about that?
I tell you what. Shh. I'll calm the whole thing down. In everything you say, you're right. Okay, I agree with you.
Everything that I say, I'm right.
Everything, yeah, I agree with you. Willy nilly, moly holy, I agree with everything you say. Because I don't want you to, I don't want to upset you or anything.
I mean, no, you're not upsetting me.
Good.
It's a little frustrating because you just fail to listen.
Yeah, I know.
You think that you know everything.
No, I know everything. I believe I know everything. Oh, I'm getting all confused.
There you go. See, that's more reasonable.
I'm getting so confused.
You believe you know everything.
No, I know it. I know everything. Everything I know to be true. I know to be factual. So, if I know that God is imaginary, I know that God is imaginary.
Can I prove you wrong?
You've got your 2 minutes. You've had your 2 minutes for as long as you've been in here. But
Actually, no. I still got like a minute and 45 seconds.
Hold on. Let me give you your 2 minutes. Hold on a second.
Okay.
I'll give you 2 minutes.
I'm going to prove you wrong on what you just said.
I'll give you your 2 minutes back.
I won't need 2 minutes.
Yeah. Really? Let me put it on the screen as well so that we all. There we go. Hold on a second. Stick it on the screen. You won't need 2 minutes, you think?
No, I won't need 2 minutes to prove this wrong.
Oh, all right. You can see the 2 minutes timer.
Yes, I can see that. Yep.
All right, go ahead. I'll start
Okay.
the timer
So
when you start talking.
Okay, you can start it right now.
No, I'll start it when you start talking.
Okay. So I'm starting to talk right now. So what I'm going to say is that you just made a claim saying that you know everything. You don't believe that you know everything, that you do know everything. And you have just made a claim earlier that everybody else that has an Islamic background, everybody else knows that Muhammad existed. But yet I could bring you people right now that don't say that they know that he existed, that they believe that he existed. So that would be something that Sidney thought he knew, but he actually didn't. And that's all that I need right there to prove him wrong. There you go. Done.
Okay, thank you very much. There you go. All right, you said a couple of things that I didn't say. You said that Sidney said that all of Islam, everybody who's Islam, who follows Islam, knows that Muhammad existed as a historical figure.
Except for me.
Except for you, yeah. But I didn't say that. I said everybody. Yeah, no.
Yeah, you said everybody else.
Yes, I said everybody else. I didn't say every Muslim or everybody who follows this. I said everybody in the whole world who's heard of Islam and Muhammad knows that Muhammad is a historical figure. But and you of course are
okay.
Are
Cool.
exempt.
Let's switch it to that. Everybody else in the world knows that he existed.
I was responding to you because you made you put words in my mouth that I never said, and I'd like to at least respond. So
go ahead.
I'll stick with the last one. Okay, that you show people how you put words in other people's mouth. I never said Islam or Muslims. All Muslims believe that. Sorry, I never said all Muslims know that Muhammad existed. I said everybody that knows about Islam and knows that about Muhammad knows that Muhammad is an historical figure. They don't need to believe it; they know it. That's what I said, and that's what you're trying to twist. That's what you're trying to.
Okay, cool. So I will go ahead and grant you that and say that I put words in your mouth. But the unfortunate thing is that now you've made the problem even worse for yourself.
You always say that.
Because now everybody else in the world. Hold on. I'm responding back to you.
Yeah, but you always say that. It's like a cliche with you. You always say that. Now you've made a word for yourself.
Okay,
Worse for yourself.
Cool.
And then you come up with something that you think makes it worse for me, but it doesn't. You do this every time. So yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so you said that every other human being, everybody else except for me, knows that Muhammad existed.
Yes.
I can bring you people that would not agree with that statement, that would actually agree with me, that would say that they believe that he existed. Now, if I can do that, then you would be wrong, right, Sidney?
Well, what you said was that you could bring people right now.
That's a yes or no question.
You said you could bring people right now who would say who would prove me wrong or whatever. You said right now. So that's another thing. You lie. Because you can't bring anybody right now. I don't
skipping around this.
I don't want you to bring.
He's waffling and running away.
I don't want you to bring anybody right now. I don't care. But you did say you could bring people right now. Now, what is it that they are going to say?
Are they going to say? Thought experiment, Sidney.
Listen, don't overtalk me because that's not very nice. That's not very respectful. But what you are trying to say is that you can.
I don't like dishonesty.
Exactly. Then shut up. So what you're trying to say is that you can bring some Muslim people into this chat right now, hypothetically, that will say that will say that they don't know that Muhammad existed, but they believe that Muhammad existed.
Yes.
Oh, I fail to see how that's possible.
If I was to do that, would you be wrong? Yes or no?
I kind of would be if they said they don't know, but they
exactly. So here's what I'll do: is the next time you have a stream, you say you do this every night.
Yes,
I will go ahead and get other Muslims to come in here and say, "Hey, you made a statement to Khalil last night."
Yes.
And then they will say, I believe that Muhammad existed. I could not prove to you that I know it.
Well, that'll be a setup.
And then you would be like, oh shit, I was wrong. And now that crumbles your entire statement that you know everything, because apparently you didn't.
Okay, so when I said I know everything, okay, you haven't, you didn't listen, and I'm going to say it again. Everything I know to be true, I know. I don't believe it. I know it. That's what I said. Okay, so
Yeah, and everything. You said you know everything. That's what you said.
no, I didn't. No, I didn't.
That means that you are.
I
will
did
clip
not
it out.
say
I
that.
will clip it out.
I did not say I
will
know
clip it out.
everything. I said everything I know.
I will literally clip it out for you.
Everything I know to be
Nope,
true.
that's not what you said.
Everything I know, I don't have to believe. I know it. That's what I said.
Okay, here. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and get on my laptop right now.
No.
Because
Hey. We are not going to go and do whatever you think we're going to do. We're going to be talking about, if you can, you didn't disprove me. You didn't prove me wrong about all gods are imaginary. That's the subject and the focus of this.
No, I did. I proved you wrong there
No,
too.
you did not. So
My electronic device is gone.
yeah, but that was a trolly thing, wasn't it? You
No,
admitted that it was a trolly thing, because
It doesn't
you
matter
know
if it's a
very
trolly
well.
thing or not.
You know very well. Okay, how about okay? You know very well that bringing up an electronic device as God is silly. If you know, at
I mean,
best.
to you it is.
At best, it's silly, and that's what you're doing. It was just bringing up a silly thing, and that's the way I took it. Okay, fair enough. It's a silly example, and okay, you in that silly example.
proves it wrong.
In that silly hypothetical example, which is which is not, it cannot happen in real life. Fine, I'm wrong. Okay. Fine.
Really?
But
People
again,
can't call
it
an
was
electronic
just
device God?
it was just, you can call it whatever you call it, Bob, Bill,
Okay,
God,
so
whatever
it's
you
possible
like.
then.
So
You're going back to contradicting yourself every 5 seconds again.
You know, you're over talking me every single time I talk. That's what you're doing.
I'm just waiting for you to contradict again.
If you tomorrow started calling that same medical device Bill, what Bill attributes would it have to have? Okay, you see how silly your argument is? Today you're calling it God, and what God attributes does it have? Well, you'll say X, Y, and Z. Tomorrow you'll call it Bill, and I'll say to you, what Bill attributes does it have? And you'll have to come up with, well, Bill attribute A, B, C.
Well, I won't call it Bill. I'll keep calling it God.
No, you call
Problem
it Bill.
solved.
No, tomorrow it's going to be called Bill or Bob.
No, I'm calling it God.
What are the attributes of your God?
Everything that this electronic device has.
Atoms. That's it.
Yep.
Okay, so God is atoms. So God is just energy.
No, God is this.
If God is
God
energy,
is this.
if God is
Hold on,
energy,
wait.
if
You
God
just
is
asked me a
energy,
question.
hold on a second.
Hey, Darth Dawkins.
I'm
Darth
talking.
Dawkins.
Hey,
You asked me a
you're
question.
over
Let me
talking.
answer.
You're over talking me. I haven't finished.
You asked me a question. Let me answer.
I did not ask you a question. I was talking.
You asked me a question. I can't wait to
you-
clip all
you-
this out. It's going to be so funny.
Then let me finish, so you can do your clipping without having to spend too much time clipping.
Okay, go ahead. Take 5 minutes because I got to find this part of the video where you said
All right.
that you know everything.
Okay, keep yourself muted, all right? Don't unmute until I say, okay, you can unmute. Okay? So, the central theme of this room is for anyone to come in here and take my statement of all gods are imaginary, prove me wrong, and then prove me wrong. That's it. You don't have to come in here and overtalk me and try and pretend that you've destroyed me, or I can't wait to put all these clips together. If you're going to go wasting your time on putting clips together for my benefit, I feel thank you. I mean, I feel literally I feel appreciated. So that I can't wait to listen to that. I can't wait to show you to see how you show me how I've destroyed myself. And I'm not saying I don't believe I destroyed myself. So I don't I can't say I know that I destroyed myself, but I don't believe that I did. Do you know that I destroyed myself, or do you just believe that I destroyed myself? You can unmute. All right.
Can I talk?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, if you
Okay, you said that you were going to tell me that I could talk.
yeah, I
You
did.
didn't do that.
I did, but I said you can unmute, but yeah, you've got the feedback. I mean, the background gone. That's great. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so can you explain to me what you meant when you said that I know everything?
I didn't say I know everything. Well, yes, I can explain to you what I meant by that. If I said I know everything, this is what I meant. Everything that I know, I don't need to believe. I know it. There's a distinction. For me, there's a distinction. That's that's the answer.
So you misspoke when you said that you know everything. You meant that you know that specific thing. When you said the word everything, you didn't mean everything, right?
No, I didn't misspeak. I kind of, my words, I didn't speak clearly. I didn't make it very clear. Everything I know, instead of I know everything, it's everything I know. I don't have to believe because I know it. Okay? Does that clear it up?
No, because you've already conceded to me in this conversation that beliefs are or knowledge is justified through beliefs. So that to know something, you must believe in it. You conceded to that also.
Justified true belief. We've never spoken about justified true beliefs.
Really?
I know you have spoken about it.
Have you been drinking?
I wasn't part of the conversation at the time because you were just blabbering on about justified true beliefs, and I was
so I was talking about justified true beliefs.
I wasn't talking about it. I've never had a conversation with you.
You just said
you went and stated about something about justified true beliefs.
You literally just said that I haven't mentioned it in this conversation,
No.
And now you're saying that I have.
No, you said we've spoken about it and we haven't spoken about it. Yes, you mentioned it.
This is too easy.
But you said we've spoken about it. So you're making.
We have spoken about it.
You're digging yourself a deeper hole every time you come up with this.
No, I'm not.
This is amazing. I can't wait to clip this. Oh, I'm going to put this up on my channel. You're going to be
losing
destroyed.
count of how many times you've contradicted yourself in this conversation.
Really? Well, I'll tell you. I'll give you exactly how many times. Maybe one. There you go. Maybe once, but I can't remember which one it was.
Hold on, I'm almost there.
All right. Well, let's see. You know what? I've been going for 3 hours. So,
Oh, please don't end the video before I can do this.
No, the video's gonna ending because we've been going for too long. So, thank you everybody for watching.
Oh, run away, Sidney.
You can stay.
Run away.
You can stay. Not a problem.